Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Joseph Pizarro, Samson, Maris, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Dal West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, The Real Gabster, Windrider, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I'll hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
Because I would get paid just to go uplink it at their Earth station, and I was always hoping though that they'd scrub it, like if the wind was too high or something, because when they scrub it we have to go back. So I made more money that way if they scrubbed the missions or the launches.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm sorting things out as usual.
Who's here to talk to?
Just me.
Oh, you're enough. How you doing, John?
All right, how you doing?
Got some pinched nerves. I might have to go see a chiropractor or do something because it hurts.
In your back?
Yeah, down my leg, back, lower back, up the shoulder area. I don't know what happened. I've been walking 2 days at the golf course, so 7-8 miles a day walking. So something happened.
I had a car wreck when I was, I think, 22 years old, but it's coming back to bother me now at 41.
What part of your body?
My lower back. It causes my legs to go numb, sharp pains.
Yeah, sharp pains. I relate to that. So it was like absent for 20 years and it shows up?
Yeah, well, it's the only thing I can think of that I did to my back that, I don't think it was from picking up kids, but it could have been.
You back off your mic just a smidge, John. Makes this like hissy.
Yeah, sorry, this is a new phone.
That's okay. Just makes this hissy, whispering, whistly sound when you first start speaking. That's all.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, you
only
sound good,
mention
John, though. Your voice is nice.
I only mentioned it because you had a very valid point in the end of the discussion that was excellent about the sextant, which I've trimmed out and gets published tonight. And in that video, between you, 10th Man, and QE, you managed to sum up the point, make it a flat Earth proof, and then automatically overcome any objections that they might describe with refracted or curved Earth. And you pointed out the rebuttal to the black swan negates them saying that they've got a curved line to their straight horizon. And then QE points out the paradox of refraction. It ended up being just, you just make a great, what I think is a really good video. You just kind of, maybe you don't. I don't know who I'm speaking to when I say this. When I made it, I thought this is a really, really good video. I said it at the time. I was like, that's the best presentation you've done to date, 10th Man. Very concise, very to the point, summarising the key details over and over again, and the implications thereafter. It must be a flat Earth to do this. But anyway, I'll get to my point. When it came to your bit, I had to spend about 25 minutes editing out the background noise and trying to make you somehow sound okay, because I really wanted your words, because the point was fantastic. Just the sound was horrible. Anyway, just saying.
Yeah, 10th Man, I agree. I said it to you then. I seen the whole thing in my head as you were explaining it. Perfect.
And by coincidence, I had it on screen, so I had it on the Skype screen. So I was flicking through while you were hearing him say it verbally beautifully and could understand in your mind's eye what he's describing. I also had the pictures that he's telling me to put up. So it's just a great presentation. Sorry, 10th.
Oh, no, it's all right. What were you saying? The noise I was making in the background, or are you saying John was had noise in his background for his part?
No, John.
It was me.
Okay. Yeah, I got confused there for a minute. Yeah,
what we get,
when
it's also from you, so you just get this kind of whistling horribleness. I don't know what it is. It really irritates me.
Gee, you remind me of my cousin's husband. I told you he came from California in the 80s, and he was talking about CDs and compact disc and all of that. While he's using cassettes, you don't hear that hissing sound. And we were like, no, but he had a good ear.
I had a friend who's a music guy. I think I shared a story before, but he has a DJ service now, and he worked in studios with bands and everything. And he had a really good ear for music. He can spot anything. And so he was this audiophile and so detailed, and this had to be so perfect. And finally, I saw him one time at a friend's party, and he was asked to DJ, and he had everything on the Mac and a hard drive. And I go, what happened to your, he says, you know what? Only I hear those things. No one else hears those things. He says, life's a lot easier now.
No, well, when he brought it, my brother-in-law, my cousin, whatever he is, Puffy, let's say, when he brought it to our attention, then we started hearing it. But before that, like, we didn't even pay attention to it. But he was a sound freaking, like in the 80s, he had like this Camaro that was alive. You hear these boombox cars now, and the sound is all over the place. His car, I don't know if it was because it was a Camaro, but the way it sounded in his car, I'm telling you, it was alive, this car.
It's the same thing with NASA's special effects. You know, they were so great when I was a kid, but looking back on them, they're just horrible. Horrible.
Now, this car would be alive today. He had it. And when his car got totaled, he took a box, a regular cardboard box, took this stuff that he had in his car, and he made his own boombox radio. That's better than anything you could buy in the store.
I love it. Got you two talking about sound at cross purposes with NASA as examples, which are ignored by Neil. While Neil's about 15 foot away from his microphone, and John's about a quarter of an inch away from it. It just doesn't sound so.
Well, I have headphones on, so I got to be right on my mics. I don't know what you're crying about.
Okay, whatever. Sounded like you were distant. You're
It did. There was echo. There was an echoey.
All I'm going to do in the pre-show is moan about all of the things to do with sound that are completely out of my control, right? Which is you, because I can't do anything about it, especially in G+.
You can go back and watch old movies and have that same feeling that John said that when he saw the old NASA stuff. It's like when I watch old movies, I go, I thought this was a good movie when I watched it at that time.
I'll give you one King Kong, the original King Kong. I thought that was great. You watch it today, you're like, oh my God, it looks so fake.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, the whole sextant um, presentation in the way you do. I mean, it's so quick. It doesn't have to be long. It's very simple how it works. I just go to their site and they tell you how it works. Then when you apply it to a curved surface, it can't work. You apply it to a sphere, it can't work. Apply it to a globe, it can't work. How many ways you want to say it? I mean, it gets old after a while. It's pretty simple. You can't get an angle without two straight lines. And here they're saying they're on the surface of a curved sphere and they're getting an angle, but they don't have a baseline that's a tangent, a straight line to the GP of the star or sun. So it just complements so much the black swan argument because you got to have a radius. If you don't have a radius, and here's an instrument that works, they say on something with a radius, but it can't work on something with a radius. It can only work on something without a radius, a flat surface.
Yeah, so as I say, that's trimmed out, comes out tonight, and I've given it a strong title: Proof Earth is Flat.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the only way they are able to swindle all the sailors and all the navigators is to say that you're actually taking it from the center of the sun to the center of the earth. Okay, so that's how they get around it with, gobbledygook language. So you're saying that on the surface, I'm really at the center. And they'd use all the drawings that we've seen before where you can achieve an angle from the center because you can get your 90-degree there if you go to the center with two straight lines. The problem is that's not where you're taking the measurement from. That's number one. You're taking it from a curved surface. Number two, sunlight has to come in parallel for that to even work. So the whole idea of the sun being, excuse me, sorry about that. The whole idea of the sun casting parallel light is they use that so that same angle could be achieved from the surface or from an airplane because it'll match what it is from the center. But we know sunlight comes in divergent. So either way, they're dead, no matter how they do it.
Yeah. I also trimmed out yesterday's show, so they're not really coming out in the right order. But there we go. That's come out this morning with the guy like, forget about the hemispheres.
That was great. And I was loving it because they make themselves sound even more stupid because they can't just catch on to what you're doing. And he killed himself 1,000 times over, and not just dead, but dead and stinking.
That wasn't the same guy that said non-reality can reach a point of reality, is it?
I don't remember. Not on that show.
Yes, yeah, it was yesterday's show. The first, not Koppel, was it Koppel? No, it was the other guy.
The other guy.
Yeah, he said non-reality, or one of them said non-reality can reach a point of reality.
Yeah, that was Coppo.
What the?
I think that was.
Yeah,
Coppo.
that was Koppel. But I mean, think of the words non-reality, so it's not real, can reach a point of real.
Why? You can't give me -3 apples? Then why can't you? You'll just owe it to me, and when the accountant gets the books, then I'll get my 3 apples. But they're there.
I think Adam had a good point. 7 plus 2.
Yes.
Then you minus, but not the other way.
No, he's saying if you 7 minus 10, then plus 3 or something like that. So you take it into negative numbers first. Well, you can't do that. You only got 7 of something in stock and someone wants 10 of it. You can't give them 10.
That might be why 6 is afraid of 7.
Why? Because 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, 7, 8, 9. I'd be scared of it too. Cannibal.
My son told me that joke yesterday.
Yeah, they're all afraid of the vicious circle. Supposed to say, oh. Oh well, never mind.
I was thinking of it. I'm saying, is he talking about 0?
You mean where all life started from? 0?
Yeah, well, just let's make sure we get it right. It's how's his name? Capo Flakes. How you say his name? Please don't say the
Capo.
Spaniard.
Couple flakes.
Yeah, as long as you don't say the Spaniard.
The Spaniard.
Uh,
There's more than one Spaniard, Neil.
yeah, but when you hear somebody say the Spaniard, come on, you're thinking Russell Crowe in Gladiator.
Not me. I used to live in Spain, so to me it means something totally different.
Oh, well, you've been all over the place. I can't help that. So I'm off to Atlanta today from Tennessee to Atlanta. I think it's about a 4-hour drive. And then I think from there, we're working our way back.
So how do you like Tennessee?
We did the strip, the music strip.
Yeah,
You
Nashville.
have every single storefront, restaurant, and every one has a live band. Talk about going crazy with sound, Nathan. You would have screamed yesterday. Oh, intense, very intense.
So what, 20 bands within the blocks?
I'd say way more than that.
Way more.
I'd say that's an understatement. Well, we went to this place called, what was it? Martin's? It was definitely the best barbecue I've ever had. It's really good. We waited online for like over an hour, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, sounds like you had a good time.
Yes, it's been good. But it's road trips. Everything is fast. A day here, 2 days here, 1 day there, 2 days here, and then, it's over. So it's constant movement.
So what are you going to go to Atlanta for? What's there?
The aquarium. My son's been wanting to go to the aquarium for years. It's supposed to have one of the best aquariums. So that's it. But I noticed you accumulate stuff as you go. So like my little guy's in the back seat, and his stuff just getting piled on him. So I got to figure out how to get the suitcases on top because I have a rack on the Nissan. So I'm going to tie them down. They should be all right going on the highway 80 miles an hour, right? If I tie them down really good.
Depends.
I mean, it's a rack. It's a rack, and then another I think it was for skis. They put another thing on top of it. So I mean, I got to fasten it down good, but they're going on top tonight. Well,
Yeah,
today.
if you got good tie downs, you should be fine.
I got rope. I'm going to do it the old fashioned. I got a couple of bungee, but I got some rope. I'm going to do a slip knot and yank them tight. First, I'm going to put them in bags just in case it rains. So I should be good. I got it all figured out. I will let you know if it turns out to be a disaster.
I can't wait to hear the results.
Can't believe it. I was driving and my luggage flew off the roof. I had clothes all over the place.
That's what I was just imagining that.
You said it would be
I think
okay, Ten.
the ball,
You said it would be okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the ballers are definitely on the last hurrah for a while now. They're turning on each other. They're doubting their own model, from what Adam said.
Yeah, we deal with a very
It's
different
hard to
breed,
have
don't
a
we?
ball without R.
Say again, John? One more time?
Oh, I said it's hard to have a ball without a radius.
Yeah, indeed. And we don't deal with ballers, I wouldn't say. We deal with anti-flat earthers.
That's a good point. But they know it's not. I agree with you. They know it's not a ball. They're anti-flat earthers. I agree.
Well, they're definitely hostile. They're ad homs. You got mosquito brain.
Yeah, that's what's his name, Flakes boy over there. Went to that yesterday.
He
When
did.
he
He did the
started
time.
ridiculing Nathan. That's his end result. When he can't win, that's what he says. Nathan, you are stupid, and whatever else he says after that. And yesterday he had another one.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, they're a
We're
pain.
going to keep presenting the evidence.
The guy from a couple of
I'm
days
talking-
ago that you took through the sextant, that guy, I'd call him a baller. Normal guy that when it comes to a square that can't be circled, he just goes, yeah, that is a bit of a problem. I'm trying to figure out why this is a problem. It's like, yeah, well, you'll find your way to the obvious and observable nature of your reality if you've got that mindset, as opposed to disprove flat earthers mindset, which is what the anti-flat earthers are like. But occasionally you'll get what I'd call a genuine baller. Guy thinks he's on a ball, but has heard about this subject, comes in to ask a few questions, as opposed to stand in opposition with double-speak rhetoric to anything that we point out as a fail on the globe side.
Yeah. I mean, that's that's a good category to put them on because that's how they act.
Is that's hot right now. So for a time, flat Earth was hot, i.e. favoured by the algorithm. Now, anti-flat Earth is hot. Same search terms, coincidentally. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean that anti-flat Earth's going to remain hot forever. Quite the contrary. Flat
Yeah.
Earth is a different story in terms of how much promotion or how, well, the lack thereof, we receive. It's kind of irrelevant now. It's like, well, we're building up our internal audience, and that will never change. You know, there's going to be the same sort of curiosity level, regardless of whether or not we've got a deeply opposed anti-flat Earth movement that's being promoted by YouTube currently. In the same way, Flat Earth wasn't continually going to get promotion. That said, it did go the opposite way with censorship. I don't think that'll be the way with anti-Flat Earth. But it's a flash in the pan. It's a fad. The anti-Flat Earth movement, 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, it's tiny. There's nothing to it. Now it's blown up. Well, do you think that's sustainable? Bracing against Flat Earthers for the rest of your natural-born life? I think you'd drive yourself nuts. Likewise, same applies to us if we were to brace against Globe. You know, I go, we must fight the globe Earth, as some proponents of anti-flat Earth movements would suggest, on their side of the flat Earth argument, i.e. our opponents. Well, if I wanted to, I could spend the rest of my life fighting the globe Earth. I don't see the need. You know, I already know what the score is, and taking the fight to the psychopath isn't going to help me in any way. In fact, it benefits them. So why do it?
Yep. It's amazing what they've done with the disclaimer. Like if I go to one of your shows here on YouTube, context, flat Earth, Wikipedia. The flat Earth model is an archaic conception of the Earth shape as a plane or disk. Many ancient cultures, and then you have to hit it to read the rest. Why do they have to put that there?
Yeah, I hate that.
But it's true.
It is true.
It's true. That's why they put it there.
Can't argue with it. I can't argue with that. Archaic model. Yeah, models are pseudoscience. I'm not going to argue with that. People who punted a disc, they're inferring models. They've said it in the first sentence. So again, it stacks up with the follow-on of the statement. And I agree with every word of it.
Well, why do they have to put it there?
Oh, it's mandated.
versus-
Yeah, it's mandated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why don't they put disclaimers on every type or YouTube video that's in one genre or another?
Because the Western world's under a heliocentric religious worldview, as opposed to an obvious and observable nature of our reality worldview. You know, it's a paradigm in terms of how you're supposed to view the world. Supposed to view the world. Our consensus tells you this is what we all think it is. Now, you're not going to disclaim that and say, oh, by the way, this argument that's going to present by National Geographic about the physical geometric spheroid horizon, we can't actually acquire that. It only exists in the maths. The globe Earth model was an old-fashioned way of assuming the horizon was physical. They're not going to put that disclaimer on because the Western world is in line with globe, and therefore anything that stands in opposition to it needs to be corrected. But there's a fine line to toe, and they've towed it quite beautifully. YouTube, that is.
Yeah.
Well, to have a,
I can't wait until there's a.
I was just going to say, to have a flat Earth tramp stamp that a flat Earth says, yeah, I agree. Wouldn't you say that's doing a pretty good job? When it's knocking flat Earth, and
Yeah.
I have to agree, I'd say they've done a pretty good job myself. Nobody's going to agree with me, clearly.
What do you mean? They did a good
I
job
agree.
knocking it? I agree. Yeah, of course.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Father of a Stolen Child, 10th Man, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning, all. Okay,
Right.
good morning, one person.
Good morning, nobody. Absolutely nobody responded from Discord.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Stagoli and FEEG. Hello, Father of a Stolen Child also.
The excitement is there today. I can feel it.
Oh, it's bristling. It's absolutely bristling. Tenterhooks, my friend. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No evidence. There's a geometric limitation of the sphere. The horizon can be no further than 1.22 miles, 1 foot observer height. And it's not there, Nathan.
There's a video being released tonight that is called Proof Earth is Flat, the Sextant. And it describes the triangulation method to acquire what is known as a fix, or a position on the ground with dweller top with 3 circles of equal altitude. So check that out. Proof we're on a flat plane. The way stars are used to position yourself on the flat plane, we dwell atop, could only work on a flat plane. Detailed beautifully by 10th Man. That's trimmed out. It'll come out at 9:15 UK time, or 20:45 UK time. So check it out, Be Here or Be Sphere. That's on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, just before the Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show comes out on the second channel, which is brand new, although I did actually trim another part of that, which has already been released on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. So check that out. Not now, because you're watching the live show, but that's already been released. It was released at about 7 o'clock this morning, so you can check that out as well. Just let Adam in, and then we'll go to axial rotation. Hello, Adam.
Afternoon, guys. Sorry, I'm a bit late. Engrossed with a bit of chat on Arwin's there. He's had a good show this afternoon. So sorry about that.
Sod's law. I've missed it a couple of days in a row, and it's been good both times. Hey ho. Subscribe today to Arwin. I'm missing the Flat Earth early bird because of classes with kids and stuff, but such is life. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No, you would need R to have that. And just because the sun is moving 15 degrees an hour, what makes them think it's the Earth?
I heard Germany was spinning last night.
Oh, yeah. 2-0.
Okay. I have little to no desire to know what you're talking about. Any evidence of the distance?
I know. I won't elaborate.
Excellent. Don't. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's over there. It's a light in the sky. That's it.
Seriously, low enthusiasm levels from Discord today. Wow.
There must be
There's
Germans.
no way to even know what it is there?
The sun? No, I don't know what it is. Sorry. Okay, moving on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Well, back to no radius, no Earth curvature, no orbits, none of all this stuff. So now they got to drag us down to the center of something that's not the center of something.
All P waves and F waves, right?
They got it wrong. Made predictions, Kohler deep borehole, and then they got it wrong based on their P wave and S wave predictions. What they thought they'd drill through, they didn't drill through. And that's the sound of 10th Man's mic open. Every time his mic's open while I'm talking, I hear. There it is again.
I agree with that. Just go on mute.
I'm as still as it can be. I can't believe you're hearing anything.
You sound like me 4 months ago, 10.
Anyway.
Just go on mute.
Anyway. Any evidence of the R value? That's Earth radius.
That would be a negative.
Nope.
Can you have a ball without a radius?
No.
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah, we're not on a ball. They need a radius. They haven't got one. We've debunked it. That's correct.
I think we did more than debunk. We are actually destroying it.
Yeah. Any evidence scientific there of gravity? Any scientific evidence of gravity, I should say?
Nope. Only maths.
What is gravity?
Which one?
Hello.
Exactly.
Hey, Arwin. Well, there's two. There's mass attracting mass, falsely ascribed to Newton, more accurately described as Reverend John Michel C.V. Boy's Cavendish gravity. which is 106 years out of date, superseded by the notion that the uneven distribution of mass causes the bending of space-time.
Space-time, hey?
Yeah, space-time.
I'd like to see that.
You don't. It's just a mathematical concept. About any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. These are your priests, globe believers.
Just observation and declaration.
Observe and declare only, eh? Bummer.
Yeah,
But unless
apparently.
they find some way to manipulate the celestial phenomenon, you know,
How would they do that, Owen?
then they might engage. I don't know. That's why I said if if they find out some way to do it.
You'd have to
Would
get
be
to that
pretty-
Well, even
firmament of
if-
yours first, Neil.
Hold on, just one
Well,
second.
maybe they could just shine a laser inside of the firmament or something. Or
Firmament?
Inside of the firmament.
What firmament?
Yeah. Where you
What's
going with that? Firmament that speaks
Sounds like a
about in
claim.
the Bible that gives us air that we can breathe. You see, because if we didn't have this firmament over us, Nathan, we would not have any gas pressure. All the air we have would suck off into space. So we have a firmament.
We have containment.
We have a firmament, which is the containment.
Says you. You can call it
we have
whatever you
firm
like.
containment.
Yeah, the containment.
Oh, hold on. Wait. Not says me.
We have confirmation.
Okay, but I never said that. I never got there, but the Bible declares it.
No. The Bible declares two things, doesn't it, really? But it doesn't necessarily link the two, does it? What we're claiming. We're making an assumption that the statement in the Bible, where the stars and the sun and moon are set, this firmament, we assume...
Wait, how is that an assumption?
Let me finish. Well, I'm about to tell you. Yeah, we assume that statement, we then take that as our containment. Doesn't necessarily state that is how the containment of the gas is. It's a statement with regards to what the sun, moon, and stars are placed in. We make an assumption that would service that role for gas pressure, but I don't think it's stated in the Bible that that's the thing that definitely stops a violation of natural law.
But neither does God explain how he took the dust of the earth and made man, Adam.
Yeah, let's not turn this into...
So it's a little egotistical of us, then, to make that assumption so positively. Take the things that are stated positively and hold them true, but don't necessarily follow logic for you to interpret.
How else are we breathing? So you're going to give ballers an entrance to get in. Just
No,
a little entrance to get in.
no.
That gas can be contained some other way.
No.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm saying that it's not explicitly clear in the Bible that the firmament is the causation of containment of gas pressure. It's stated in the Bible that the firmament is there, yeah, and in which we sit the stars and the sun and the moon. It's logical to draw that conclusion that it would draw that dual purpose, but I don't think the Bible makes that clear distinction.
Perfect. It's a logical inference you can draw and then use it to parallel what the Bible states, and that's perfectly acceptable. But when you remove the first and just use the second, i.e., well, the Bible states it, then that's not going to stack up. And when you describe something as something else, because it's a form of containment, it is the firmament. Quick shout out to Godzilla37 who says text message with a winky face and sends me money. Thank you very much, Godzilla. Really appreciate the support.
Okay, I got a vision of God breathing life into Adam. And Adam is a container, and he's breathing, okay? Until God breathed into him, he could not become alive, right? He wasn't a living soul yet. So that firmament is sort of like, it's like a big atom, you know? And that's how we're breathing.
What?
Yeah, Neil, you took that the wrong way. You should have said, so you're implying that there's another physical container between the physical container mentioned in the Bible.
Well, that's what I said, because if you're saying that the firmament is not containing the gas pressure, then you're leaving a door for them to come in and say, hey, gas can be contained another way.
No, you're not. You're assuming that the first statement that you leave out when you refer to the Bible suddenly negates their necessity for containment, regardless of what the containment may be. If you look on screen of this preposterous picture of a molten iron core in a sky vacuum, the black area is a vacuum, the clouds are high-pressure gas. It's absolutely absurd. Well, you need containment, because we've got gas pressure. But that's the end of the statement. In terms of, well, the container's a firmament. What's a firmament? Well, it's this, that, and the other. Because the Bible says so. Everything in terms of description of what a firmament's going to be and how it is going to come from the Bible and not come from verification that you've acquired in physical reality. Sorry.
Because no one could get
the
there to
Bible.
tell
The
you what
Bible
it is,
also
but the
says it's an
Creator
expanse,
himself.
and I believe it. And I believe it's a flat top. So yeah, you can't say the Bible proves the dome because you don't know what shape it is.
Okay, hold on a second. The only one that can say what it is God, and he said it. None of us could get there, so we can't tell you what it is. But use your head.
Yeah,
But he said it was an expanse. An expanse is a spread out piece.
When you say use your head, you mean apply logical inference. Yeah, we can all do that.
Okay, let's deal with Eli. How can it be flat? A flat top. What do you got on your sides?
Because it's an expanse.
Nothing.
If the heavens that we look up to are also the floors in heaven paved in gold, then what are you walking on?
Where did you get that word expanse? Break that down for me.
I got it from the Bible somewhere. Don't know exactly where, but I can get it to you some point in time later.
Rakia.
Yeah, Neil, why does there have to be in your mind a touchdown point? Look, if there is no possibility, can I finish? Can I finish? If there is no possibility for this flat, presumed in this case, container thing to actually physically move down, which would compress the gas pressure within the realm, right? If it doesn't have such maneuvering capability, then why would it have to touch down anywhere in order to stay up? That would already be kind of assuming that there is more space beyond in order to create that dynamic.
I was just saying, don't use scripture to back up your logical inference. It is logically correct that it would fill that role, but you can't use the scripture to say that the firmament contains gas pressure. It's not explicitly stated. You can only logically infer it, which doesn't mean that that's the case.
Correct.
That leaves an opening for them to say
It
gravity.
doesn't leave an opening. It stops you setting yourself up for a fall by making a claim that you can't actually back up. You can only logically infer.
Spot on. Can we not have it for a third time that it's leaving an opening for Globers? It isn't.
No, it's not just for Globers.
And if
It's
I
even
could
an
just
opening for
respond to
everybody.
Arlen,
Excuse me.
Hold on, let Neil finish, then go ahead, Eli. Go on, Neil. Go ahead, Eli.
I said, I got a delay, so go ahead.
Go ahead, Eli. You want to respond to Arwin?
What did you say about the container not touching down? Or is that what you say?
Yeah, like an upside down.
That's what I said, yes.
Yeah, like an upside down pudding bowl.
But an upside down pudding bowl touches down, doesn't it?
That's what he's saying.
No, I said, why would it
That
have to touch down?
Right. What you're saying? Why would it have to be enclosed?
No, why would it have to touch down?
He's got you there, Arwin. Repeat your question, Eli.
Why does it have to be enclosed?
Because there needs to be a limit for the volume. That's why.
So it'd have to touch down then.
How do you limit
No,
the
it
volume
wouldn't.
without it touching down?
It would be looping in on itself.
Oh, no, come
Here we
on.
go.
Don't descend this into farce. Just concede, Arwin. He's
It's
got you there.
not farce. Don't say that. Never say that.
Okay,
It's
I
not
take it
farce
back.
when I say
Stop.
that.
Stop.
It's called
No,
cosmogony.
Stop. Let's not turn this into something it isn't. I take it back. However, in terms of logical inference, I can't logically infer looping. I'm sure you'll agree. However, in terms of his logical inference, in terms of the physical containment, the restraint to gas escaping underneath into a different area, it kind of has to touch down. I think he's got you there. Why can't you concede?
No, it doesn't. It would only have to touch down if there was some kind of mechanical risk of it pressing down because of some relative density aspect and compacting the pressure inside, right? That would be the design risk in our
How is there
minds. Why
pressure
there would
inside?
kind of finish? Why there would have to be touchdown pillars to prevent that, like a table, right?
Sure.
But if there is
hold
no
on, hold on.
such
Stop a
risk
second.
because there's no space beyond,
Yes,
then
I
there
got it.
wouldn't have to be a touchdown table.
Sorry, but you're saying there wouldn't be any space beyond, and you're worrying about the mechanics or engineering of whatever the container may be. And what I think Eli's saying is, regardless of what the mechanics or the engineering of the container may be, it's got to be sealed. It's got to be contained. And, beyond you saying so far looping, and then moving on to the mechanics of how the container would actually be formed or structured, that's not his point. It's got to be contained. That's his point. Because of the gas, it would escape, right? If there was gaps underneath, if it was on pillars like a tabletop, well, then it wouldn't be sealed. It wouldn't be a container anymore. For gas. There's a moment of pause
makes no
because I think
sense.
there's a few people on
It
the
could
panel.
if there's a looping element. It's very
There's a few-
simple. And
Before
you
we
can
move on to
think that
looping,
particle and all that. You can think that.
Please. So in reality, we could discuss looping at this very poignant moment. However, I'm going to focus more on the fact that a few of us, I assumed the prolonged pause was because we're going, hang on a second. We're saying no dome, no upside down pudding bowl. We don't know what the container is. But by logical inference, it's got to touch down, as it's been phrased. I don't see any way around that unless someone's going to correct me beyond looping.
Well, yeah, go find it then. Go find that touchdown point. If it has to touch down, we'll confirm it. Right? Just like no. I'd like to draw the comparison to the
It's just because,
celestials, right?
Arwin,
If
hello?
you assume there has to be some kind of a physical nature to the celestials,
No,
well,
you
go
did.
prove it then.
Stop. That's what you did. No, you started focusing on the engineering. I don't know what the container is. Don't strawman me. You immediately started to focus on what the mechanics and engineering of the containment must be. Now, I don't know what they are or what it is. However, Eli's point still stands. It's directly related to, it's not even off on a tangent from, the fact that it must be a container. Well, to achieve that, right, there's got to be a point where it seals, right? I can't see any way. No one's correcting this, right? No one's stepping in other than Arwin. Anyone got anything else on this? Because I don't see any way around this.
All right. I agree. But looping is sealed.
Just
For
please,
the record.
please, just let someone else have a go. If there's any objection, I want to hear it. Other than that, it's just deep contemplation of the fact that, hang on a second, when we say no, pudding bowl upside down, no, we don't know what it is, that still stands. But we still must be in a sealed container, so therefore you can make the logical inference that there's going to be a point, an edge, where one meets the other, if you will. How else could it function as a container?
How could you demonstrate a container without walls?
We'll go
As far
find
as
the
our
walls
physics
then.
is concerned, we can't. That's what a container is.
Man-made containers.
Or any container. You don't have to necessarily have a man-made container for it to contain gas pressure.
Really? Well, if you find a
Demonstrate
container
otherwise.
that's not man-made and you figure out it's a container, then it's gonna not longer be a sealed container anymore, I think, in nature. So
But yeah, you might let the gas out of a previously sealed natural container and just go, oh, I've let the gas out now. But what does that mean? It doesn't exist in nature prior to you smashing it open and letting the gas out, whatever it may be.
Bubbles.
Yeah, bubbles. There you go. Anyway.
So before go find the container.
that's a liquid
Yeah,
container
I
wall.
think you should go find the looping.
Well, yeah, beyond us. Okay, let's just segue away from Arwin's looping so he doesn't get the butt of this. There's people out there that think there's an infinite plane, right? It could just go on forever.
No.
No, there is
Physically
people out there.
impossible.
Don't say no. Yes, there is people who believe that.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, that presents a bit of a problem for the gas pressure we're breathing also, doesn't it?
Indeed. Infinite volume for gas pressure is going to mean potentially infinite problems with turbulence. That's right.
Well, it would all be if you assume that there's no vegetation and no life beyond what we know, and it just gets more and more desolate, which is also supposed, whether or not it goes on infinitely or otherwise, I don't know. But that would still create massive problems with the gas pressure, which is pretty stable. We have cycles because we have a very stable system. Yes, it's dynamic. No, it's not in perfect equilibrium because it is dynamic. But that said, it's still beautifully balanced while it is dynamic. Well, that I don't think would be the case if there was just a never-ending expanse. I don't see how that could function either. Quick shout out to Retro Bill, who says, falling apples, transit of Venus, pressure gradient, gyroscopes, ham radios, seismology, and black holes. Take that, flat Earth! Okay. Thanks for the super
Good
chat.
one.
Can I make a comment about the infinite plane? Infinity in reality cannot exist because you can't have an infinite something. But you can have, I don't know how to explain this, but there has to be a limit to reality.
Everything is finite.
You can't have it. So infinite plane is incoherent.
Right.
Go ahead.
I see what you're saying.
You
It's a
cannot
mathematical
believe in
concept.
infinity. That means that how you can believe in something you cannot never reach, and you don't know where is that something never ends.
How does something that's infinite even start?
Well, it's a mathematical concept, isn't it? So to apply that is a reification.
So, well, even in mathematics, it becomes absurdity. If you take away, all the even numbers and all the odd numbers, and they're all infinite. If I remove all the odd numbers from the set, you still have an infinite number. So even within mathematics, it's absurd.
Just like the zero, right? Or nothing. Can nothing
There's only
exist?
one.
Look, guys, we're getting smashed from chat here. Godzilla37 says, look, Superman, Star Trek, Star Wars, take that, Flat Earth. Right on.
Shut it down, Nathan. Shut down the show.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
We've not had a beating like this for weeks, have we?
That's it. Pack it up. It's all over. Thanks
Pack
for the
it
super
up.
chat.
It's the last episode, guys. Wrap it up.
The last episode. Holy shit.
Okay, so
I think the point, Nathan, infinity is the thing that needs to be. That is it's a concept. It doesn't even exist in mathematics. It's only expressed as a conceptual new number. It doesn't exist. It is totally conceptual, even in the maths. We invent new rules, new mathematical rules when we deal with infinity.
Sure. And plus, I'm not knocking on people who think that when they describe it as an infinite plane, it's not necessarily directly translating into the concept of infinite anything. I'm sure they've got a more expansive way of describing it. It could go on for a very, very long time. But that doesn't change the original origin of why we're discussing this, right? Which is Eli's point. Or who is it that said the words touchdown first? Was it Arwin?
Can I just quickly...
I think so, yeah. That was me.
Quickly relate it to yesterday's chocolates, the maths we did yesterday. And the example I'd give is if chocolate's got infinite pencils and he gives 2 away, he's still got infinite pencils. He hasn't got infinity minus 2.
Yeah, it checks out.
That gives me a headache.
Yeah, because it's just nonsense. That's the point. The concept of infinity isn't based in reality.
Yeah.
Like the geometric horizon or the R value. Go on, Rags. Or was it Paul?
Yeah, it was Paul.
Sounded like Sasha.
Just question.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, I pretty much done. I made my point that you can't have an infinite. That's just my point. Is there more that you wanted me to tease out?
Yeah.
Can I give one example in that?
Go on, Sasha.
It's not about maybe infinity, but it's somehow about reality. Let's say that you are 1 meter from the wall. If you if you make it a halfway every time, in reality you will touch the wall. Now you're on half meter. Now you're on 0.25. In reality you will touch the wall. In a math you will never ever touch the wall.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing. Like you could see something a million miles away in that.
I've seen these on YouTube too. These examples of the absurdity of infinite. Making measurements and making divisions over and over again, and never getting any closer. Yeah, those are all great examples. But the reason we're discussing this is I want to bit back to it. Although Arwin started it in the negative by saying there's no reason why it would have to touch down, and then Eli pointed out we're talking about containment, then it's got to be containment. So therefore, when you talk about having an infinite amount of land, that doesn't stack up. Doesn't necessarily mean there's not a massive expanse. We just don't know.
Absolutely. It can be very big, but there has to be a limit to the total amount of volume in some way. There cannot be unlimited volume.
Perfect.
There might be, in a very specific dimension, potentially infinite space. But that's still going to be within the context of the available volume, and it would include a looping factor.
No, why do you have to ruin it?
Why would you come to that?
There's got to be a volume, right? And that volume is finite, not infinite. So if you've got a finite amount of volume, you've got a finite amount of, let's put it as it is, space. So the reason I'm dwelling on this so much is because this is what it boils down to. How much space do we have? Well, we know it's not infinite in terms of the ever-expanding universe, and even if they put a limit on it in terms of what they say we can see with the cosmic microwave background radiation, their ascribed values based on our values are absurd to begin with, but nevertheless those are still very big numbers that they're talking about. Now, it could be very much the opposite of that in terms of just how finite it is. It could be very finite. There could be a very limited amount of volume. We do not know just how little space we actually have. So when it comes to us normally talking about space, it's the eradication of the idea of a sky vacuum. Absurd. But then it does leave you with the question of, well, how much space do we have then?
Yeah,
Well, then,
that's the big question,
I'm gonna.
isn't it? The orientation of it all. And hey, I just want to know if you could walk in a straight line for an eternity, yet still remain within the same volume. What's going on?
Are you trying to get onto looping again?
Because I don't think you're walking in a straight line. I mean, because what? Why are you saying
don't take the bait? It's Arwin suckering you.
You wouldn't know.
Go on, save it.
You wouldn't know.
How is something? I'm just trying to understand. Like if the ground is a plane, right? Then how would the containment be looping? Like the only way I could see it looping is something like a cylindrical shape, like something. Then the wall itself could be wrapped around, but it would still touch down on Earth, and the top would be somewhere up there somewhere.
Or it would be looping in another direction as well.
How?
Well, how is it looping in one direction?
What I'm saying is how does it touch the ground?
Look, Eli, didn't you hear what he said? Eli, I think that's very unreasonable. Arwin immediately but reversed the burden of proof and demanded that you explain how it would be looping in the first direction. Have you done that yet?
Yes, you walk an infinite straight line. You got a physical gyroscope with you spinning forever, and it keeps its exact orientation at all time. And you keep walking that straight line your entire life, yet you remain within the same volume. That's how you know.
You know in The Matrix when he's in the downstairs station and he's with the presumed to be old architect from a former Matrix called the Train Man. And in that station, I've forgotten what it's called, he runs to the end of the platform, keeps running, and then he just starts at the beginning of the platform. Now, from his vantage point, he's just running a straight line, right? But he's looped back.
That's right.
Yeah, in The Matrix, it's all right.
Yeah. Let's try it out with the equator. Let's try it out with the equator then.
I have a question to Erwin. What is the physics that we know about that governs the world that you're describing? Can you just give me the natural law, the physics? How I mean, what is it that governs this?
Yeah, Arwin, give us the
There is
physics.
no laws established for spatiality, right? Let's confirm it's true first. Let's confirm there is an element to actually have
How would you
suspicion that there
confirm
is a looping factor.
Arwin?
I agree
How
with
would
Arwin.
you
Hold on,
confirm that?
Adam. I agree. You are going to confirm this first, aren't you, Paul? I think you should confirm this first, like Arwin demanded of Eli a moment ago.
I have to confirm this.
Yeah.
I have to go out and confirm that this is reality. I thought it's
Absolutely.
Irwin's
I mean, of course, because you're not the one
so
claiming
it
it.
should
So
be up to
of course
him to
makes
confirm
sense.
it. Not me.
If you're going to argue with this, Paul, you've got to prove it right first before Arwin can prove it wrong alongside you.
What?
Yep.
Prove what wrong?
Sounds like the burden of proof reversal fallacy there to me.
Prove what wrong? We're not going to be proving it right first, then.
I'm confused now. What are we talking about?
Let's just see. You're right, Arwin. We should start at the beginning. Prove looping. Physicality. What's the physics for it?
Spatial nonlinearity.
What does that mean?
How that works.
What does that mean?
Well, you can only do it conceptually until there is some kind of physical confirmation for it. And I
That's the end
already
of this.
know how
Bye-bye.
to do that,
Yeah.
how you would establish spatial nonlinearity.
So Arwin's just giving the disclaimer that this is only conceptual. Now he's going to waffle on indefinitely.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was only asked how to do it, and I just answered. I'm sorry, I'm waffling on indefinitely.
How'd you do it again? Conceptual.
Just to clarify,
Like a
right?
robot now, Arvin.
Look, Arwin likes to cause
in the
disturbance when...
same
Look, let me just clear what's happened, right? Arwin knows how to play baller. He also knows how to do all the tricks of obfuscation and rumpus causing when there's some disclaimer that he's just dropped in that he doesn't want focusing on. Conceptual only, right? That's why I told him not to do it about 4 times when I would rather dwell on the point that there's got to be containment. So how much are we contained is an interesting discussion point. Instead, it's segued onto Arwin's conceptual only looping. Thank you, Arwin. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, but you all of you keep asking questions about it. So yeah, I'm sorry that
We're
I'm
not.
answering your questions.
We just want you to concede it's just totally conceptual and there's no way of ever demonstrating it.
But there is a way of demonstrating it. It requires certain specific steps to get to that point, if it were true. Oh, laugh it up, Fundy. Laugh it up for that which you don't know. Laugh it up.
Fundy.
Laugh it up, Nathan. You don't know. I have figured out a way to find out. Yeah? Laugh it up.
Tell us that.
Man, write a book.
You follow the
Why not
equator.
here?
You establish whether the virtual equator, derived from celestial. I'm not suggesting
Yeah.
suggesting
Brilliant.
North is whole.
Here.
You derive
Right,
whether
Everyone else,
you're
everyone
walking
else.
that
Let Arwin
straight
get it out.
line,
Everyone,
or
hello,
if it's not
hello,
a straight line,
including you, Arwin.
or you
Hello,
just interrupt me as I
Arwin.
explain it.
Arwin,
Arwin,
you
man, what
can't
the
do
hell,
this.
bro?
Are you causing chaos? Hello, can you not hear me
I'm
trying to
causing
gain
chaos.
control, whoever's talking? Thank you. Right, as soon as everyone talks over the top of Arwin, he gets close to his mic, everything gets distorted, then 5 people talk. Just let him finish.
Yeah. First, you figure out the equator situation in this realm. It's all contained within the realm. You don't have to go to any side of what you think the container might be, right? You follow the orientation of what is in the realm. You figure out when you follow this derived on the celestial's equator, if you're actually going to move in a straight line, in an arc, or in a complete circle. You bring a gyroscope with you all the way, a physical one, to establish whether you are physically turning in a Euclidean sense or not, as you follow the equator line. Then, when you've finished, then you put together the data of what you've gathered, what you've done. And then you can figure out, is there any, well, Euclidean complexities? Like, is this a complete circle we just walk within Euclidean space? Or isn't it? Because if it isn't, there's some weird loopy shit going on.
So, can I respond then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we're going to use the movement of the stars to determine a circle on the ground, and we're going to test to see if that circle is really a straight line using a gyroscope.
Yeah. Whether the equator virtual line is literally a circle or something else. Yes. Within the realm.
But by definition, it's a circle.
Well, that's what the ballers say, but I'd like to see it actually physically tested.
So you want to map physicality by the placement of stars. They're the things that are going to be your straight line ruler, or they're the things that are going to map your equator. So how do you validate how you've transposed the stars to the ground to then give you anything of any real definition?
He doesn't.
That you can work with.
He doesn't.
I'm just going by what is present in the realm, the orientation of the celestials, this virtual equator, and what it actually is within space. Yeah, the derivative of it, right? But what is it? How is it laid out?
It isn't.
Physically, within the realm.
It isn't. There is no equator. The average point, the midpoint of the celestial movements throughout the seasons. There is no physical equator. There's no point on the ground. It isn't anything. It's derived from lights in the sky. And you're saying I'll derive this circle from the movement of the lights in the sky, average them, and then say the point on the ground that represents in physicality, of which there is none, I'm going to walk along it and see if it's a straight line. Well, it's a circle. You've just measured it from the movement, the circular apparent movement of the bodies in the sky. So this is nonsense. Why are we spending 25 minutes on this? I just don't get it. Me saying I don't want to talk about this when you talk about something really interesting, about how much containment we must have that you can logically infer. Instead, we spend 20 minutes on this crap.
It's not crap. It's a genuine exploit to do at some point.
Maybe one day.
We do have a new person that might want to talk. His name's Glitch. Effect.
Save us, Glitch, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yeah, I have nothing specifically to contribute. I'm just listening at the moment.
What's your name? I can't see you. Well, you're not lighting up.
Uh.
Oh yes, I've got you.
Glitch effect. Okay.
Okay, I found you. Okay, well, we've got no other housekeeping questions to ask, but we've segued so far away from the actual gas pressure without a containment argument, although it wasn't specifically asked as a housekeeping question. Maybe I could just ask it. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
Would a rectangular looping model count as a container?
It's the flurfament.
It's a little jab below my ribs by Adam. Thank you for that, Adam.
I was trying to link at least. There is the point, Owen, that even within that model, what we were starting on before we got into the conceptual is there is a point where there has to be a meeting, isn't there? A joining. Even creates the containment, even if it's this, as described by you, it in of itself, it's forming a kind of containment, isn't it? It's a four-dimensional containment, but it still creates containment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Having said that, you still need a lid on the top.
Absolutely.
Or does it loop up? Yeah, because you can't have your on the other way.
Well, on the other hand, it could also be looping upward, and then you would literally have the top of our containment being the bottom of our realm. But yeah, that becomes a little remote, I know.
What does looping upward mean in relation to touching the ground? It's that for me, that's point number one. The containment is touching the ground. So where is the looping happening?
Well, not where it's touching the ground. What's the point of a loop if there's a barrier? You wouldn't need a loop.
Are we discussing the looping still, rather than the profound containment?
Well, I would like to address the containment. Since we exist in three-dimensional space, I'm going to start a GoFundMe called Send a Flurfer to Space. And since you're already there, it'll just be Globers giving me money.
Yeah, well, space is space, right? That's why I say the irony of them saying that outer space, the sky vacuum, is called space. Because it's a space for gas to fill. Well, okay, you get past that and you take the logical inference that we must have containment. Well, while it's often pinned on us by globies who aren't challenging us right now, it's just us in our little echo chamber, as they like to say, discussing it amongst ourselves, going, okay, well, the containment must have some limitations then. Well, that is quite profound. It does make you kind of reflect on things that I started to reflect on when I first came to this subject, you know, and discuss with my uncle, who's very, very religious, a preacher, and saying, you know, the way you're led to believe the world is, i.e., the space we have, is vast. We're a tiny little speck of dust in an infinitely expanding soup of nothingness. Well, you take the adverse when you say, well, there must be containment. We must be contained. So there's quite a limited space then, or a limited space. You know, it's infinite. No, it's finite. We've only got a certain amount of it. Well, suddenly doesn't that make you a bit more appreciative of the world that you're actually inhabiting? Because this is all there is.
I've seen a reaction where it's like somebody becomes actually sort of claustrophobic at that notion, thinking that, oh my God, I mean, what do you mean it's enclosed? What do you mean we're trapped? Like, no, we're not trapped. Obviously, you can get in a plane and fly straight for like 15 hours. Like, obviously, it's pretty damn big, not to the point where you're gonna feel trapped. But for some reason, that psychologically affects them. They think for some reason it's more comfortable. It's like a warm blanket to know that you're a magical water ball flying around this infinite vacuum, as opposed to just being on a flat stationary plane that's just enclosed and just here. It's very weird psychologically, because I've seen people think about that and get scared. Like, oh my God, that's scary.
When you say trapped, it means that there is a higher intelligence that has trapped them. That's what bothers them.
Yeah.
The idea that there is a higher intelligence that's trapped them here.
Yeah.
The converse is a little bit from the baller's point of view. I don't see it as freedom. I don't see it as trapped. I'd see it more as marooned. You can't get to another place in their model with the technology we ever have. You've got to break laws that they've set up to get there. So in their model, to me, it's more frightening. You are, let's say, marooned.
And then if you even
But
if you
at the
want
same-
to get
at the
to
same
another
time,
place, you have to travel through what they call the harshest, most insane environment to survive in, to make it to another place. So how is that not feeling like you're trapped? I agree, Adam. It's like the opposite.
Whereas I feel
well,
safe.
let's address
I feel
what
like I've
well
been
let's
put
let's
here for a
address what the
reason.
situation.
Go on, Eli.
Let's address what the situation is, which is this is some type of containment, contained system in which we live. Like that's just what it is. So there's one way to look at it, which is trapped. There's another way to look at it, and that's like, you know, if you've ever taken care of anything like a reptile or something like this that needs certain things, like because you have made the environment in which it could live, but your house may not necessarily be a safe environment for that reptile or that rat or whatever pet you might have, pet gerbil or whatever, right? Like, so that containment, it's made for their survival.
Yeah, another way of looking at it is when we describe the containment and the system, the equilibrium, it is not, but moreover the dynamic system that is in beautiful harmony that we experience, it is ideal for us to be living in. You know, we have a beautiful world that exists in beautiful harmony. Now, yes, that will require containment to achieve that. But that doesn't make it a jail cell. It doesn't make it an aquarium that we've been stuffed in with something beyond that we're being kept away from necessarily. I'm not saying it isn't that either, I don't know. But by the same token, we do exist in a beautiful harmony. Nature is beautiful. The harmony we experience to be alive is beautiful. And I take a lot of solace in that, as opposed to fear the prison that people might envisage. The other thing is that Mark Sargent, I think it's in Flat Earth Clues Part 2, expresses the concern about this when he describes the dome and the containment. He says that people are naturally inquisitive. If you're a sheep, you'll try and find the perimeters of your fence, right? Well, that's no different if you're a person. You're going to want to find the limitations of your confinement, if there is one. People are just inquisitive. They want to know what the wall is, where it touches down. People are going to want to know. They're going to want to see. They're going to want to touch, smell, and taste that limitation for whatever reason. Now, if that limitation's taken away from people's concern, then they're not going to be knowing that they need to concern themselves with looking for any limitation if it's just a looping sphere, and you just find yourself back on yourself if you go around it in any direction. Well, that immediately eradicates any inquiry from anybody ever to look into what the constraints of our environment might be. What is our space? What's the space we inhabit? And we don't know. And space, as they've labelled it, they being the people who tell us that we've got a sky vacuum, is off limits to us. And the extremities, in terms of the flat Earth strawman we're led to believe by way of azimuthal equidistant projections, is apparently an ice wall that I certainly don't ascribe to. I have zero knowledge of what goes on beyond the limitations of what I already know. And what we're told on the maps. That's what we're given. That's all we've got. But it does still leave me in inspirational mode rather than despair when I think about the beautiful balance that we exist within. Anyway, I just want to mention Mark Sargent, actually, as I brought him up, because I was chatting to him about him losing his channel potentially. I don't know, haven't had an update on that. I don't know if it's actually been taken down. But he did have a few words in that regard, so I'm going to just pass those on now. He said, tell people to download whatever they want off his channel. So Mark Sargent's channel, if there's something you want to acquire from his channel, download it. You may not get the opportunity for much longer. Also, he wanted to tell people where they are, where he is, for if you want to find and keep up with Mark Sargent. So he's on BitChute. I don't know if it's Brighteon, and Rumble. So yeah, he's also said, I don't know if I should mention this, the ones that got him in trouble on YouTube are in a playlist called Rants and Articles, presumably on BitChute. So that was what Mark had to say about his current situation. So I just wanted to put out a shout, and I said, what can I do, if anything? And that was what he told me I could do. I point people in the direction of where they can find him in future, and say, if you do want any material off him, feel free to download it. So there you go, that's my little update on Mark Sargent. But yeah, bring us back on track. Mark said people would want to know where the wall was, where the edge is.
And what's the best
Well,
way
the
to
word
take away
trap-
that curiosity? Don't tell them there's a wall.
Yep.
The word trap, though, it implies someone to trap you. I think that's what they're really scared of. I don't think they're scared of being in an enclosed system. They're scared of losing the power to believe that they're not.
Yeah, the world is within their control and only limited by their lifespan rather than anything else in the time frame of a heliocentric world. But I don't see it as trapped when I say this may be all there is. In other words, it's not a cage and there's something beyond it if this is all there is.
Well, no, I ain't saying you're thinking that way. I'm saying the people that describe it as feeling trapped, they're saying that because they're subconsciously realizing that you need someone to trap you if you're in a trap.
Right, and it's one of those scary things that I came across again when you first come to this subject. You quickly come to the conclusion that there's got to be a creator. I didn't like that. I'd already visited and then closed the door on the monsters in my closet, and I didn't want to reopen any of them. I'm like, well, if there's a creator, so someone already knows what's behind that door. That's a bit scary. I'll have to accept all these horrible things about myself, won't I? I have to deal with them. Now, a lot of people like to put those skeletons in their closet, close the door, and think nobody knows. And then you come to the realization that this might be all there is, and the negative connotations are trapped by an external force, is what you're saying. And therefore, that's terrifying. Yeah, I can totally relate.
So if you take it a step further than that, and it's like, okay, so we're talking about the physically being put here, but at the same time, is life the way we experience it? Is that all there is? Because what if there's some portion of this experience that I do have to answer for when I'm lifeless physically?
Well, I've gotten both reactions, right? I've gotten the oh, that, what do you mean, like we're trapped? Gotten that reaction, and then I've got the other reaction, which is, you know, if everything in the sky, you know, appears to be going around us, and we seem to be in this special location, you know, that mainstream science doesn't want us to really focus on, you know, run away from that, like Edward Hubble said. And, you know, that person, they came to they were like, well, that almost makes it seem like we're special. And I didn't say anything. I just looked at them and they were like, okay, that's very interesting. Because they weren't going in that direction of God or anything like that. But they were like, well, if that's what's going on, that means it's purpose. It was put there with purpose. I said, yep.
Yep, exactly. Well, although you say they weren't necessarily focusing on God, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Paula just because it's relevant. So Level Up in the chat, who's one of my moderators, says, answering to God is something I'm going to touch on in my next live stream. So I think it's next Sunday live stream. So check it out. Channel's called Level Up. But I think this stuff is, you know, it touches on some profound subject matters and does really make you think. And it's nice. I remember having all of these things flash through my mind when I very first came to the subject. One of the things I braced against was the idea of a creator. I didn't want that to be the case, so I braced against it for the longest time. You know, and it had to be really proven to me beyond any reasonable doubt for me to turn around and say, okay, there is a creator. This has started with intelligent design. This has been put here with a purpose, as you put it, Chocolate. There's no other way of coming to it. Go on, whoever that was.
I was going to say, when you say the word special, you have to be special to someone, you know? So if we are special in this special, right, it's still right there on the edge of your
The best
mind.
part was I didn't have to tell them that. They came to that conclusion just based off the description of how everything, like what it is, you know, that everything is revolving around us in the sky, and we need a containment to have gas pressure. And she sat and she was thinking like, wow, like that's, if everything is going around us, that means like we have to be special somehow. And she walked away kind of like with that in her brain. And and then the next day she came in and she was just like, you know, I've been thinking about that, I've been looking into it. And yeah, it was pretty cool.
You know, before Flat Earth was ever even talked about, I can remember that always being a question. Like, you know, because a lot of the atheists or whoever out there, they're always quick to say, well, we're not special. You're just a clump of, you know, processes. And once you're dead, that's it.
Just a complicated rock.
Yep.
Basically. You know, but but they always had arguments where there was someone saying, well, you know, we're not special, and someone saying, yeah, we are. And then the argument against it would be this evolutionary heliocentric model. That's all I have ever turned to refute saying that I was special. Honestly, that's the only time the heliocentric model ever came up in my life. And I have used it to refute the creator and creation.
Well, let me assure you, Eli, you are indeed a very, very special snowflake.
Even the word complicated, though, who are you complicated to? If you're a complicated rock, then who are you complicated to? You know?
You're complicated to the people that the rock is going to become.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, to say you're a complicated rock, well, you know, that doesn't make sense.
Just in case people don't realise who you're referencing when you say complicated rock, can you just give a bit of context, Chocolate or Father of a Stolen Child?
Yes, that would be NASA astrophysicist Dr. Michelle Thaler, who says that we are complicated rocks, that if you're on a mountainside and you see a rock, that's your cousin.
Yep.
And people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw their cousins.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. But a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Well, I've had people also say that they feel just as special with the heliocentric model as well. So,
Well, we
I've
thought
also
like
heard
we
people
think that
saying
is.
it's kind
Did
of
they just say
arrogant
like
to think that you're special.
is this Discord?
They'd rather
This
not be.
or did we just
Yeah,
come
that's
into
Discord.
Oh, sorry.
Well, they may
Just
not hear
saying
you,
that,
Elijah.
yeah, I
We
was
can
just saying that with the whole complicated rock thing, the way we bring it up, it's like yeah, it's absurd, but what I want to do is connect to the people by having them understand and remember that what we're saying, even though we're saying it like it's absurd, but you think maybe there's some other way to think about it. Maybe we're taking it out of context, but no. Like I used to watch Vsauce, and Vsauce was breaking it down in a way that seemed smart. And based on evolution, he was giving a percentage of how related to a rock I might be, or how related to George Washington I might have been. These are examples that stem from the notion that we've come from this evolutionary process. So the crux of all of this is actually, again, evolution.
Right. You know, it's like saying that ink and paper are related to a book. Well, the book still has information in it, you know, like our DNA does. It's just nonsensical.
There's no such thing in my world as life, really. That we're very complicated rocks.
Right.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, all of the elements that exist here have all been born in the heart of dying stars and then blasted out into the known universe to then form by way of gravitational accretion into the land beneath our feet. And that's how every element that's here that eventually produced life, according to their story, that's how it all got to be here. Therefore, we are directly related to the rocks because the same stuff made us, and it was all created in the same place, the heart of dying stars. And it's true because we made it up ourselves.
Sad those people don't get any real credibility by the people that believe them, because when I walk around at work with a quote by her or somebody like Don Pettit, these people want to tell me, oh, she doesn't work for NASA. they're debunking me. And I'm like, yeah, these people work for NASA, guys. This is your story. This is what you're supposed to believe. The same story that you think I'm crazy for not believing, this is you guys. And now I show you this with her directly saying it, and you look at me like, nah, that's not real. I mean, okay, you can go ahead with that.
Sounds familiar. That Starman's not really claiming to be in space. Don't be silly. No. They are actually claiming that there is a man on a Tesla floating around in a sky vacuum. They are actually claiming that's real. Nah, you prove to me that they say that's real. Sorry, I don't think it's real. Let's get this clear. I'm not going to now try and attempt to prove to you that Starman on a Tesla in space is claimed to be real. It is. The fact that you're bracing against it because it looks so blatantly fake is a testament to how fake it is, and that's my position, not yours. You should be telling me how real it is, not demanding that I prove to you it's actually claimed to be real, which it definitely is.
Exactly. I've been through that so much at work. It's ridiculous. I walk around like, what the hell, man? This is your guys' crap. You don't even watch it. You don't know anything about it, but you all believe this, and you all think I'm nuts because I don't.
Further downstream of that, you've got examples like Simon Dan saying you and your reference frames have been ruined. He can't quite fathom the notion that we're supposed to be turning underneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour, as claimed by the globe. And when we point it out in gobsmacked disbelief, he's like, your reference frames are ruined. No. Your reference frames, you're the one supposed to be fighting that you've got them, not telling me they're ruined. You just don't understand these arguments and can't quite believe that you should have drift. Things should be drifting away because we're turning beneath them. What absurdity. Prove that to me, Flat Earther. No, that's your claim.
Well, soon they'll be coming in and saying, prove that we have radians to have a non-inertial reference frame. Prove it.
Well, that was Ed, right? What's his name? Tough Man asked him. You know, he started the Black Swan, if the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, and then stopped and said, is that your claim? And Ed said, no, that sounds like yours. Oh, okay. A flat earther makes a claim of a...
Yeah, that old chestnut flat Earth claim of a radius 3959 to the sphere Earth us flat Earthers are standing on. We need to prove that radius 3959 that we claim, because we claim it all the time, don't we, Chocolate?
Apparently, yes.
Us with our straw man claims that Earth's got a radius. How dare we?
We've reached a really weird time in this debate.
Why we cannot
You
see
guys forgot about
London from
optics.
New York?
Say again, Sasha?
Like, okay.
Why we cannot see London from New York if Earth is flat?
Well, you know it's a globe because we measure it flat.
I know
That's how you know it's a
the
globe.
answer why I cannot see Leamington from Coventry, but that one London, New York, I don't know.
Probably could if you got up a
Because
big
of
hill.
angle of resolution, you know, I cannot see so far because I'm so little small thing, and I cannot see so far. And Earth is so big. That's it.
But you know, the funny thing is that question always comes after you've shown them something that on their model you're not supposed to see. Like,
You can't
you're
even
not supposed
see.
to see this clock. Sorry, tough fan. You're not
You
supposed to
can't.
see this clock at 20 miles away, but you do.
Like a man on 1 mile.
Well, if you could see it
example.
20 miles away, why can't I see freaking London from New York? It's like, did you
Yeah.
just skip over the other part where you're not supposed to see this thing that we're seeing on your model? Go ahead,
If you've
Tom.
ever been to LA, you can't even see LA while you're in LA.
Yeah, that's true.
It's called smog.
Yeah,
Well, what
it's
they're
very
doing
weird.
with that, isn't it the same? What they're doing with that, isn't it the same as taking a thermometer that you use to measure a child's temperature, throwing it in an oven and saying that, look, because it only reads 107 degrees, the inside temperature of the oven is 107 degrees. It's kind of the direction they take the horizon arguments.
Even if the thermometer is just designed to go at max 107 degrees, they'll be like, well, it has to be 107 because that's what it says.
Right, because
Nathan, you
to
said it.
that viewing device, the horizon appears there. I'm sorry.
Go on, Eric. Go ahead.
You said a term before that I don't know what it means, and if you could tell me what that means. You said gravitational accretion. What is that?
Bending of space-time.
So is that where like they're saying that it got created by gravitational accretion, meaning it like got sucked sucked all together, like all the particles and stuff.
Yeah.
So how come the moon just like would stay where it's at and not suck to the Earth?
Right, that was also formed through gravitational accretion. Do you want me to give you the full story of Thea? According to them.
Like just the general
Can I
like
do the
idea
theme
what
music
they're.
in the back?
Can someone give me some harp music? A long time ago, in a galaxy not so far away, invented in the mind's eye of storytellers, there was a dwarf planet, and it was the fledgling Earth, smaller than it is now, with a nice toasty core that hadn't yet cooled down. Now, obviously, if that planet had continued to exist as it was, the core would have cooled down and we wouldn't be alive now. So obviously there's something going on that would have extended the lifespan of that core. Well, it just so happens that there was also formerly a planet that was on a collision course with the fledgling Earth, dun dun dun, called Thea. And Thea smashed into Earth at a glancing blow and deposited its molten iron core. Imagine smashing a Revel into a Malteser and the top layer of the Revel flying out in all directions and then the soft toffee centre sticking inside the nougat, right? That's what you've got. Well, all the debris flies off and then by way of gravitational accretion forms itself back into what we now know as the moon. And that's all true because I made it up myself. Not myself, but the storyteller I'm playing.
Is that the anti-entropy story?
It is a story of anti-entropy. That is correct.
I like it. Let's sell this.
It's already sold.
They've already done that.
It's sold already. It's already gone to the highest bidder and been punted out to the Western world.
At least has sense.
Funny when you think the moon over there with all that debris just coalescing over there, when you've got this giant mass over here, that's doing its thing, but the gravity decided to not coalesce it together. They're doing it separately. Yeah, that checks out.
You can describe your anti-entropy any way you want to.
Yay.
Why is absence of matter full of matter?
Because it's dark.
No, really. Why is absent of matter called vacuum full of matter?
Because it's not a vacuum.
Y'all heard of dark lightning yet?
You're talking about things like the pillars of creation, where they're claimed to be clouds in the vacuum, right? That are coalescing to eventually form other solar systems similar to our own. Is that what you're talking about? The gas clouds in the vacuum in the form of the pillars of creation?
No, I'm saying about citation. What is vacuum?
Well, it's a violation
Absent?
of
but it's
the state that nature wants to find itself in.
Like absence of matter. That means there is no matter in vacuum.
Eli,
that's
can you mute,
like
please?
He's saying it's an oxymoron. Like like our existence being matter in a place that by definition is void of matter. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, that one.
It doesn't matter.
Look, I think you're reading too much into this. It's only a model.
Yeah, and the time that this model comes to an end.
You know what's crazy?
It's a very archaic model.
At the very least, why don't clouds just like form into spheres and then rain? At least, like, give me something to believe in this bullshit. Something.
Don't know if there's something wrong with your
Well,
mic
if the
connection.
globe is
Hold on a
2,000
second.
years
Hold on. Every time you talk, Eli, it's causing a lot of craziness. Then if you want to unplug your mic and plug it back in or something, but it's awful.
Cloud
Eli,
curving.
Eli, the best they've done is cats and dogs.
Okie dokie. Did someone want to add something from Discord? Whoever that was, go ahead.
Elijah, they will give you a drop of the raindrop, and they will say, "Look, this is a ball."
Wow, terrific. That means Earth is sphere because the
But it's-
raindrop.
But it's not a raindrops on a sphere though, like at all. In fact, if you look at any diagrams that they draw of what happens, the surface is flat in their illustrations because it's tension against the air that it's falling through.
Is this where we're at now? Raindrops.
I'm just saying, they're not spheres, not even in their conception.
Well, if the sphere is 2,000 years old, it's an archaic model anyway. You know.
Nice one.
Really archaic.
I don't think it is 2,000 years old.
I don't think it is either.
I'm making fun of the wiki below this. I'm making fun of the wiki below your YouTube page.
Sure, yeah, you're taking the mick out of the tramp stamp below the flat Earth videos that come out mandated by American law or whatever, the Senate or whoever it was that sat around saying you need to tell people Earth isn't flat underneath flat Earth videos. But if you're going to censor something, you might as well make it really, really overt, right?
Yeah, you know, I got those bars on my music, on my couple of music videos. They hit me with that too. The little flat Earth, this archaic model crap. It's like, really?
My What is the World video, Chocolate. Instantly got a tramp stamp. Which I thought,
yeah, man. Like, okay.
I was explaining it to my wife because I'll tell you, she found that very odd that YouTube feel the need to label certain topics, especially that one. She said that just draws attention to the layman in her mind.
So they're the Ministry of Truth
Should I look
now
at this?
as
Why
well.
why are they deriding this? Why are they doing that? So actually, I'll have a look.
But they're not stupid, right, Adam? Because they know that that's how the mind works, right? And so while they said, hey, don't look at this, they filled all the avenues with things to look at when you look for it.
Yeah, we actually discussed this on the pre-show. So the new hotness is anti-flat Earth. If you're anti-flat Earth, you're hot at the moment, in the same way flat Earth was hot, and then it got dropped, censored, and tramp stamps introduced. But that's not to say that the new hot topic that people are interested in now will remain that way. And much to the frustration of a lot of people who were in the arena long before anti-flat Earth became popular with the rise of Simon Dan. So he was really the first person to come along that offered anti-flat Earth material that went out to a massively mainstream audience. You know, it always amuses me when people show me the stats for Simon Dan growing massive amounts with a video that he was basically commenting on somebody's video about a gate. You know, the most boring video ever. But it rocketed him to sensational levels in terms of his subscriber count and view count on that crap video. Well, okay, that was just the first person that suddenly comes in, and then there's a few others that have followed. But the people who are already in the arena didn't see that massive growth. That's something I noticed. I mean, they saw a little bit more, but they didn't suddenly massively grow to the same rate as other people who just came in out of nowhere did. Much, like I say, must have been very frustrating for those in the anti-flat Earth arena as far as YouTube's concerned, which is a level I can relate to them on. You know, yeah, we might not have the same views on the shape of the Earth, but that doesn't matter when it comes to you as a YouTuber. We're just the same in that regard. And I can feel your pain when someone like that comes along after you've been in this arena for several years, putting in the time, then someone just rockets right past you. That's really annoying, right? Yeah, it would be. But that gravy train won't last forever. Anti-flat Earth used to be a tiny little niche. It's been promoted into as much as it can be now, well, as far as I'm concerned, that's got to reach a peak also, like any other subject. Can't go forever. Same was true with Flat Earth. Same was true with anything else that's been put on as a new hot topic on YouTube.
And then flat Earth is only arcade. While you sit back and paint his mosaics, Aristophanes.
Hey, mosaic what?
Spitting bars. I know that.
I threw that in my first song. That
That's
whole
a rap.
arcade thing. How they call us arcade. Sorry about that. How they call us arcade, but when asked for proof, what do? Oh, here's Aristophanes. Here's some sticks in the ground. That was the bar.
That's why they're twiggered.
It's been an interesting show.
No one got my sticks on the ground, twiggered.
Yeah, I got it. I intentionally left a long pause.
Oh, well, we do branch out into other topics. So.
Yeah, you are going to get a lot of stick for this. You realise that?
I have to get out on the limb just to get attention.
But we've reached breaking point now.
Jesus. Tough man always barking up the wrong tree.
I left my book in my trunk. Let me go get it. I take more notes.
Don't be such a sap.
I love it. You're running rings around me, Chocolate.
Oh, I'm gonna make like a tree and leave.
If I could just branch off for a second, I'll put that tune in Master B for you, Chocolate. And I'll stick it in.
Oh, to get back to your roots.
He's all back.
Why
Back to the roots. I like it.
why the best defender of the Glober never came in the Nathan show called Red Rhetoric?
Hey, Red Rhetoric never came here?
Yeah. In a time. Swearing and saying bullshit and nothing and never coming here.
Is he somewhere still yelling math is reality?
I don't know. I don't watch it anymore. Chocolate.
I don't even know if he's alive.
I think he owes a few people some apples.
Yeah, I need 5 back.
Red Rhetoric used to be one of my favorite Globers when I was a Glober.
Oh, is that
And
so?
that's
Tell
sad.
us more.
Really?
Tell us more, John.
Well, when you're delusional, you're like, I'm sorry.
No, I'm encouraging you to tell us more about seeking out confirmation bias from Red's rhetoric. It's amusing.
Well, yeah, like if you're delusional, you're going to look for the most delusional people. And he's probably the most delusional Glober out there. One of them.
What? You might want to rephrase that. When you calling Globers delusional, I'm always here at Nathan Oakley show. I don't think people here are delusional.
Oh, really?
You are the prime
What are you
example
talking
of
about?
it.
He's not here.
Virus, its Earth is flat or not?
You already know my answer.
It is not. If you believe
Virus.
Virus, we will know that it's globe. It's enough. Only he say that it's not a flat. That's enough.
Virus
Can
is
you repeat
Earth.
that everybody? Can you tell with your voice, please, that everybody hear that we know that is not. Please.
Hey, I appreciate that, but please don't take my word for it.
No, I won't, because I believe only you.
A virus is
Don't
the
worry, we
horizon Earth curve.
I don't know. You tell me.
No, it's not.
Well, virus.
Okay.
You're a baller, right?
No.
So it's the horizon Earth curve virus.
I don't know. You tell me.
You're the baller.
That's
Where
the
does
Why does
your
it seem
curve?
so complicated for you
What?
to answer that?
Where does your Earth curve start? Is it the horizon, or is it before, or is it after? Where is it?
At your feet.
Go on, speak up. Don't mutter.
At your feet.
What?
At your feet, he said.
The
At your
horizon's
feet.
at my feet?
No,
I'm looking
the
down at
thing
my
your toes
feet.
attached to.
Why? You're running away
The,
from your ball curvature.
why? Because I said curvature starts at your feet. That's running away.
He's asking about the horizon.
Oh, so
Not the curvature that you assume.
so the curvature starts at my feet. Is that your 8 inches per mile squared that you're saying now?
No.
Then how could it be starting at my feet if it's not measured?
Who said it's not measured?
You just said no.
Okay.
I'll tell you who said it. It's on
Did I
screen
say
for my
it was
audience
measured?
now. We've got Andrew Thomas Young's diagram of how not measured the geometry is. Thank you.
Yeah.
If
So
it's
don't say
not, what is your dimensions, Aquavirus? If his answer is no, he said
What do you
18
mean?
per Mars square. What is your dimensions for the curvature?
What you mean dimensions for curvature? You know what the dimensions are. The circumference is
The-
24,000 miles. You know what the radius is. What I mean, what you need,
Yeah,
what you
but
want.
he told you, and you said no. That means it is not what it is.
He
Yeah,
didn't.
so-
He didn't say nothing. He said it ain't inches per mile. I said no.
Okay, I'll just repeat what I said to
Okay,
Virus.
how
Hold
much
on,
it is?
Tasha.
How much
Virus.
it is if it's not 8-ish?
Bear with me. So, in order to get any of these measurements that you just described, so that would be radius or 8 inches per mile squared, or the assumption of Earth curving away from your feet, you'd need to derive or measure the R value. And on screen for my audience is Andrew Thomas Young's diagram with a dotted line to a point mark G, which is where they get the R from, but it's a dotted line. It's something he's not seeing. Yeah? So he can't measure it. It's not capable of being measured. It can't be seen. We haven't got an R
So it
value
can't
for
be
any of
seen.
those things you suggested only moments earlier. None of them can be used or employed. You can't measure it anymore. We've debunked that with the Black Swan.
Black Swan doesn't debunk R.
That Thomas Young, he's YouTuber. You
Measure
know?
flat.
I know. I have no idea who Thomas Young is whatsoever.
Come, you ask who's Thomas Young. He's YouTuber. He's making good videos on.
But let me just
He's
tell him.
global.
No,
You said, who
I'll
said we
check him
can't
out.
measure it? That's what you asked. And I answered, it's on screen for my audience. The
What?
justification for the Black Swan is Andrew Thomas Young and the claim that it's refracted, meaning that you can't acquire a tangent because you haven't got a straight line, and that straight line is on this diagram as a dotted line. Not what you see, the straight line to H from O is
can't
what he's
see.
claiming you see. So you can't see,
I
according
can't
to Andrew Thomas Young's diagram, the geometric horizon. It's also got a second dotted line to the R value. So you've got a dotted line you can't see to a horizon you can't see, and then a dotted line to an R value you can't measure anymore, as per this diagram. There you go. You asked, who says we can't measure R? It's on this diagram. Dotted line, you can't measure it.
So basically, you guys say that.
Okay, so you say we can't
Funny.
measure R? Can you name all
No.
of the ways
I'll try a
that you
third
can
time.
measure R?
No. I'll try a third time. On screen for my
You're gonna mess it up.
audience, I'm not saying
You're
it.
gonna mess it up. You're gonna mess it up. You're not gonna say it right.
No, it's
didn't
you
even
that's
hear my
it's
question.
you saying it wrong. You're saying, are you saying that we can't measure? No. It's on the
No,
diagram
that's not
from
what
Andrew Thomas. Why are you
not what
interrupting
that's
me?
not what I asked.
Yeah, you've misrepresented me 3 fucking times, and now you're going to talk through me correcting you.
Yeah, because you're misrepresenting me.
I'm the one saying it. It's on screen for my audience, my diagram acquired from Andrew Thomas Young, meaning I'm not saying it. It's a diagram by Andrew Thomas Young. Now, you've obfuscated and talked through that 4 times. You're scared of Andrew Thomas Young pointing out that you've got a dotted line to the geometric horizon that used to be used to measure R? Because that's Andrew Thomas Young pointing that out, not me.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't hear my question, and I'm apologizing because you're not going for my question. I thought you was. So my bad.
So you asked, who says no measurement? It's on screen from
That's
Andrew
not what I
Thomas
asked.
Young. For 5th time
That's
he's
not what I
interrupted the conclusion of that statement. You scared of this? 5th time you've interrupted it.
That's not what I asked.
You're muttering through me, a virus. I'll try it for a 6th time. How terrifying. is it that you don't have a geometric horizon to measure? And when depicted in Andrew Thomas Young's diagram, it's got a dotted line also connected to the R value you can't get as a consequence of this. You asked why you haven't got it. It's on screen. It's Andrew Thomas Young's diagram of how you don't see a geometric horizon. There you go. You asked, I answered. Finally got it out.
Okay, so I'm about to ask. So I'm about to ask the question that I actually asked, which is, do you know all the ways to get R?
Say again?
Do you know all of the ways that we get radius? Since you said it's debunked.
You don't. Maybe you could enlighten us with one way that you do.
So you don't know all of the ways to get R value, but
So
you said it's debunked.
you
So how
could
do you know?
enlighten us. How do you get R then? This isn't obviously it. Measuring tangent points to physical horizons. You haven't got a physical horizon. That's not a way.
Yeah, I don't need a
How do we? You tell us. How do we measure R then, Virus? Fill us in.
Polaris. Polaris. You know, a couple of
Yeah,
ways.
I'm gonna
I
take
told you
notes.
a couple of ways.
Tell us, Virus.
Polaris.
I just hear high-pitched mumbles.
Polaris.
That's what I hear.
Dip angle to Polaris. Dip angle to Polaris. There you go.
We're back to 90 minus 15 again.
Sorry, get an angle to Polaris.
Not really, because you
Sorry.
actually took that angle the wrong way. That's not the way the angle. So that's not the way the angle goes whatsoever.
Reference to what?
So we discussed this yesterday, Virus, right? When you're
To
getting this
position in
angle,
the sky.
the line.
To its position to the sky.
Hello? When you're getting this angle, yeah, to measure its position, you're going to have a straight line along the bottom, and the angle is going to be to the position of Polaris, right?
No.
That's how you get an angle. I mean, no.
There's no straight line on the ground. What are you talking about?
How the hell do you have an angle then?
Why would
man?
I put a straight
How'd you
line
get an
on the
angle
ground?
then? How'd you get an angle?
Easy. There's a point straight above me and a point to the star.
A
Then
point
you
to the
have
what?
me,
A point
angle.
straight above you?
Point, then me. There's this point right above me, comes down to me, then goes to Polaris.
Okay.
There's your angle. There's your angle.
And what's that giving you? What's that achieving?
For every degree it drops, I count how many miles I move.
How come? Don't you need straight lines to form a angle?
Sorry,
I
for
just
every
gave you
line
two
of
straight lines.
guys, hello. Sorry, for every line of drop. So what? For every drop of the light in the sky. Okay, so the light. So you're moving away from it and it's dropping. Okay. What's that prove?
Okay. Okay. What?
Are you slow? You're supposed to be telling me how you get R. Don't interrupt me.
I just told you.
Shut up!
I just told you.
Shut up! You're supposed to be telling me how you get R. So far, you've said, I draw a zenith and then get an angle to Polaris. Okay, that's where we're at.
For every angle, for every degree it drops, every mile, count how many miles I go back. And once it reach, you know what I'm saying? Once it reach the horizon, once it reach the horizon, that automatically you know it's not flat. But once it reach the horizon, boom. See how
Sorry, you're muttering. Don't mutter.
Check the circumference you have by how much you go back, and with that circumference, you can get the radius.
Yeah, I heard that the first time. So you're going back, and then you're going to measure the circumference and get the radius. So when you're moving back and watching a light drop, you're assuming that you're moving backwards on a sphere.
No.
That's what you just said.
That's not what I just said. I didn't even mention sphere.
You said you know it's not flat
No,
when you
it's
get
not what I said.
a line to the horizon. That's what you said.
I'm not saying nothing about no horizon.
Okay, talk us through it again. Be very clear and concise and detail how you acquire R from this.
I just told you.
So it won't be a trouble to summarize it then.
Okay, all right. Look at the angle, every single degree that Polaris drops in the sky. Count how many miles you go back to make that happen. That gives you a circumference, and with that circumference, you can get the radius.
Why? Why does moving backwards and watching a light drop in the sky give me a circumference?
Because it's geometry.
Sorry,
That's
why
just the
does it
way
give me a
geometry works. Why does
circumference?
geometry work the way it
Sorry,
does? I don't
it's
know.
just sorry. You seem to be assuming a circumference as a result of you moving with relation to this light dropping. So the light drops, and you assume that's because of a circumference you're moving over. That's what you've just assumed.
It would be completely different if, like, for some reason it just didn't cross the horizon or something like that. Like if it just floated above the horizon, like it stayed
So it
above the
rose
earth type stuff,
above.
then
Sorry,
it would be different.
again, we've
Because
got
of
this.
the action of the actual star, you're just gonna talk to me. But anyway, your action, the action of it going down to the horizon and passing the horizon actually shows what shape you're on alone. So that way you don't have to assume, you can just go by the action of the star.
Sorry, how does that prove the shape we're on as you assert it? It just proves it is what you've said, baseless
Geometry.
assertion.
Geometry. Simple geometry.
So simple sphere geometry you're assuming?
No, not sphere geometry. I did not say sphere geometry.
So how'd you get a radius then? How'd you get the radius then? You're moving back, it's dropping in the sky. You're measuring the angle of how much it's dropped. Got that so far. Then we move on to, and you can get a circumference from that. Now, there was no explanation for how, other than you assuming that that's going to give you a circumference, which is what you've done.
Because I told you how to get it within what I said. If you don't know it, then that's just...
Sorry, if I don't know that you've measured the drop of a star as you move back, and then telling me that from that you can derive a circumference, and you haven't told me why, I've pointed out that you're just assuming that gives you a circumference. You're ignoring me and telling me I don't understand, when in fact I'm ripping apart your assumption of a sphere, when you measure how much a light drops in the sky.
Yeah, there's no assumption needed.
So how do you go from light dropping in sky to getting a circumference? How do you get from one to the next?
Geometry.
Sorry, sphere geometry?
No, geometry.
What geometry then?
Yes, there's no such thing as sphere geometry.
So what
It's just
geometry? If you're just saying, I get a circumference because I've watched a light drop in the sky, well, how does that give you a circumference? And you say it's just geometry. And I say, well, what's sphere geometry? No, there's no such thing as sphere geometry. Well, I'm trying to point out that you're assuming a sphere when you say you can get a circumference from this.
I'm not.
So how do you derive that watching a light drop gives you a circumference to measure?
I just told you in the explanation. Are you not listening to me?
So it's back to I wasn't listening, even though I've parroted back what you've said, and there's a non sequitur in there. A non sequitur between you moving back, watching a light drop, and saying that that gives you circumference. That's a non sequitur. I've pointed it out 5 times. Are you just going to talk through me and tell me you don't understand again? If so, shut up.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is repeat what I said, and it will tell you how I got the circumference.
Well, why don't you just tell me? Because you haven't. You've told me that moving backwards and then you get a circumference. That's what you told me. That's what you've said. I'm repeating back what you said. Move back, measure angle, watch light drop, then you get a circumference. That's what you said. No, you don't. That's a non sequitur.
I said count every degree it drops as you're moving back and count the miles for every degree it drops. That's literally what I told you.
Yeah, so you're counting how many degrees a light in the sky drops. That doesn't in any way infer that you're on a sphere.
That's what you think.
Sorry, that somehow does infer we're on a sphere. How does that infer we're on a sphere?
You gotta use geometry, bro. Do you know geometry?
What geometry would I do?
Do you know geometry?
What you tell me what geometry I'm going to be doing, as it's your example that I'm now going to be doing geometry for. Don't you know the geometry for your example? What geometry are we doing?
Yeah, it's basically the difference between a sphere and a plane. So yes,
Sorry, so we're comparing it to a sphere, you're assuming, and then having a false dichotomy against a plane. So in your example with a false dichotomy, you're assuming a sphere then, exactly as I've said 7 times.
No, not really.
Not really, other than that's what you've just said you're doing.
There's no need to assume a sphere.
Other than that's what you've just said you're doing when you make a comparison between flat plane and sphere. That's what you've just said you are doing. I've pointed it out 8 times, and now you're telling me it's not necessary to assume a sphere, even though that's what you've just told me you're doing, in affirmation of me pointing it out 9 times.
Because I just said you don't need to assume any shape whatsoever.
All right, so we So we don't assume any shape whatsoever. So no circles. No. Hello. So I'm going to follow your example. Hopefully you won't mutter through me. Yeah, he's going to mutter through me. Scummy fundy. Shut up. Do you mind? So we're going to move back and watch how much this light drops in the sky as we move back. We're not going to assume any circle. We're not going to assume we're going to be getting any circumference because we're not going to assume any shape. Okay, so without any assumption of shape, how does this give us anything? Especially radius, that's what you originally asked for.
Yeah, you got to get the circumference first, but you got to watch the bubble.
Sorry, circumference would be assuming a sphere or circle now, wouldn't it?
Always talking.
Sorry, you are assuming a sphere or circle then. If you've got to get a circumference, we're going to be assuming a sphere or circle then. So you are definitely immediately assuming what you have been told 10 times that you are assuming and said you don't need to assume it. But apparently we've got to get a circumference of a sphere or circle now. We've got to get one. We've got to assume it, right? Tell me we don't need to assume it again after telling me we've got to get a circumference, which would be to assume a sphere or circle.
Well, if you would have heard, instead of talking through me, you would have heard.
Right, so you're going to be assuming that you're going to be getting a sphere or circle measurement. That's what you've done. That's 11 times. You total coward.
You assume what I'm talking about because you're not letting me finish.
No, I asked you and you told me that you were going to make a comparison between sphere and flat. Well, the assumption that you're making on your side, regardless of your false dichotomy you'll present, is sphere. It's an assumption. Then you've told me that you've got to assume how you're going to get a circumference. That is also assuming sphere or circle.
I didn't say that either.
Sorry, you're going to mutter through me? Maybe tell me I don't understand, coward. Maybe tell me for a 12th time that when you say sphere and you're going to be getting a circumference, that you don't need to assume a sphere, you total idiot.
I'm not saying you don't understand. I'm saying you're not.
Yeah, you are. You're telling me repeatedly that I don't understand when you tell me about a sphere you're going to assume and how you must get a circumference for this sphere you're going to assume. You then tell me that you don't need to assume it.
I just literally told you that.
And then it says geometry, and then it says there's no such thing as spherical geometry, but that the geometry proves the sphere.
Yeah, it's also going to be getting circumference, very specifically the geometry of a sphere or circle. He's got to get that. But he doesn't need to assume a sphere, but he's got to get a circumference. He's got to assume a sphere, but he doesn't need to assume a sphere. That's what he's telling us. Total idiot.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, don't mutter no through me, you total idiot. That's what you've done.
I didn't even mutter no. I waited for you to finish, and then I said, no, I don't need to.
Yeah, you do need to. That's what you've done. You've told us, I'm going to make a false dichotomy with sphere or flat. Yeah? So one of those assumptions is sphere, ignoring what you're going to hold up in false dichotomy. So that is your sphere assumption as declared by you. You've also said, I've got to get a circumference. So you've got to assume a sphere or circle in this example. That's 13 times, Virus.
You didn't let me finish. It's not my fault.
Oh, it's my bad. It's you not getting a chance to finish. While you tell us that you've got to get a circumference, you're holding up a false dichotomy and ignoring 14 renditions of me pointing out that you're begging the question. Yeah, it's really you not getting a chance to speak, isn't it, you coward?
Yeah, you would have heard different if you let me finish.
When you say things like that, oh, you didn't let me finish. We all heard you finish numerous times.
Every last one of us.
What are you talking
You
about?
actually didn't, because I kept talking and I was actually explaining some stuff.
And we heard you.
Yeah, we heard you. We all heard it. Everybody listened.
We heard you.
We heard you, man. Man, we heard you.
Yeah, we all heard you, Virus. We heard you dumb shit. And we also heard you ignoring me
Nathan
13
heard you too.
times.
He just didn't
And
give
you
a shit
talking
about
through
your
me.
crap.
Right, Virus,
Okay,
we
so
heard
Nathan
you
just doesn't
13
care about
times.
what I'm
I got interrupted every time I got to give you my rebuttal. Point out how you beg the question. Like now, you talk through me. That's what you're doing right now. Talking straight through me and then projecting his rumpusing onto me, saying I didn't give him a chance to finish, while he simultaneously, as he is doing right now, interrupting me. Scum, loser scum, with a globe belief and an assumption that you've got to get circumference. That's your assumption of a sphere there, Virus.
Nathan, can I please say only one sentence?
In a dream of intellectualism.
He also said that has nothing with the shape on the end. That means that he contradicts himself on the end, you know. That all things.
What?
Yeah, you said.
What I say?
Yeah, and I have a question for you. How you
No,
arrive?
what I say? Hold on. What I say, please? What I say first?
You said when Nathan asked you about that, how that can, how to say, how that can show you the shape or something like that with that your measurement with your, and you said it doesn't need to how to say. Is that true? You didn't say that?
I don't think you were listening to me either, bro.
Okay, I listened to you. You said that when you look the Polaris, is that true? Did you make the
Okay.
angle? You make the angle with what?
Okay. What did I make it with? You were listening. What did I make it with?
Okay, listen to me now. Very simple. I'm mathematician. I want to this on paper. You're watching on one point on the sky. That's the one line. I want the second one to have
You
the
didn't hear me
angle.
when I gave you the second line?
He gave you a zenith.
Fucking mathematician.
Yeah, he
I'm
gave us
on
the
the
zenith.
paper now.
He did.
No, I'm
Saku.
Can you make
asking
me
you.
Okay,
Can
hello,
you make me?
hello. Yeah, he gave us a
I don't
zenith.
think
He
you
said he takes a zenith and then measures the angle from that. Well done. Yeah, it still doesn't give you anything other than an assumption of a sphere when
I
you
don't
say you got to get. Sorry, Virus. Is it me not letting you talk? Yeah, wanker. That's what you are, a wanker, projecting what you're doing directly onto me. So every time I try and make an effort to point out how he's assumed a shape, when he says he's got to get a circumference, that's assuming a shape, yeah, he laughs at me. That's what these wankers do. He's been
Sounds like
absolutely
a nervous
annihilated, so he
laughter.
thinks it's necessary to laugh at me when I point out that he's telling me I'm not giving him a chance to speak, and I'm talking through him, as he does it to me, constantly. What a scumbag. Claims we haven't listened to his argument, which has been presented simultaneously over 13 times, without him listening to a single rebuttal and talking through it every single time. That's what you've done, Virus. You're a scumbag.
That wasn't even me. That was somebody walking past.
Oh, right. So you got your mic wide open and some other wanker in your vicinity is causing the hassle because you've got your mic wide open like a scumbag. So it doesn't matter that everything around your environment's causing the problem. It's not you and your mic wide open. It's not you causing an obfuscation and claiming that I'm interrupting you while you're disrupting the entire show with your mic wide open still, now, even while I'm saying this. It's not you. Don't take responsibility for your line wide open. Don't go on mute when I'm saying it. Just ignore me, Virus, I would.
Nathan, I got 2 picks for you in Master B. And Virus, thanks for confirming how delusional you are.
Word.
Well, if I'm playing with y'all, that's cool.
Seriously, man.
No,
You
you're
have
so
this dream of
delusional.
intellectualism, and it's never gonna be there, buddy. You're a
No,
fucking moron.
This is funny. You think you know me? This is
I mean,
funny.
this is just a beautiful display of where the globe is at in 2021. Like this, you are what surpasses as the argument for the globe. Pathetic.
No,
He's
not necessarily.
He's example of intelligence.
Okay,
He's
thank you.
example of intelligence.
He's
Thank
not.
you, God.
Intelligence, my ass.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Intelligence. I'm only here to have fun.
Okay, well, sod off. We're here to discuss the nature of reality. I've got your first slide up.
Yeah, all right. That was
You
interesting.
can tell I haven't even
All right.
putting up a
Hey,
fight.
Virus,
need you
my
to
turn.
shut up,
My turn
Virus.
now. So
Go
the
ahead.
first slide showing the ship and showing the North Star Polaris at an angle to the horizon. Now, obviously, if you look at the mast of the ship, that would be your vertical, meaning your zenith. If you go to the second slide, the zenith, all it is a vertical. You're right under something. Okay, that's what makes the perpendicular 2 straight lines. That's the vertical meeting the horizontal. So the horizontal here, just like the one before on the ocean, is the 0 baseline. Between 0 and 90 is where you find your angle. So he's saying he's standing beneath the zenith and he's shooting, say, the 70 in the second picture, for example, is where Polaris is. Well, the only way he can get that is to still do it the way it depicts here. You got to have 0 to 90 to know where 70 is. So you're still going to need the baseline, the flat plane, or you can't get it. Can't get it off a curved surface, Virus. That's geometry.
No, that's not. I don't need that.
Yeah, it is geometry. You're missing it. Every navigator that uses a sextant uses it this way. You're all of a sudden smarter than all the navigators. They use the sextant and say, this is how you drive an angle without a baseline.
If I needed it, I would have stated it.
Virus, listen.
I see.
Geometry
I
is
see,
not
Virus.
a verb. That's math. It's not
Hang
a
on,
verb.
hang on. I'm
It's not
talking.
enough to
Please,
say. Sorry.
I'm talking to Virus, please. What's the dip angle measurement for, Virus, when you're 9 feet above the sailboat? What's that measurement for?
When I'm not, hold on. Why are we talking about a sailboat?
What is the dip angle measurement when you're 9 feet above the water and you must minus the 9 feet to get to the 0 baseline? What is that used for if what I'm saying is wrong?
Hold on. What are you actually talking about? Because this has nothing to do with what I was talking about.
Yes, it does. Has everything to do with what you're talking about.
Why am I
You
above
just
the
don't know what
water?
you're
Why am I
talking
9
about
feet
because you're
above the water?
delusional.
You're not explaining the situation to me.
This
This is
is
not my
explain the
situation.
You're not quick enough on the
Do
uptake
you
to
know
just
how a
figure it out.
sextant works, Virus, or not?
No, I've never used a sextant. I wouldn't use a sextant. Wait a minute, what? I'm not even using.
Oh my
Yeah, I wouldn't
god.
use a sextant.
He's
Why would I
You're
delusional.
an
use a
idiot.
sextant?
You're just
Wasting time
stupid.
with this guy.
No, why would I use a sextant if I don't need it?
That's what you'd use to measure the angle to the star and get its GP.
Yeah, and that's why you don't know anything about it, because it's not convenient to your belief.
Yeah, I don't need that to
Wah,
measure
wah,
a 1
wah.
degree drop with a star.
How you
And
measuring it then?
I don't need that for that. What are you talking about?
How are you
How are you
measuring the angle?
measuring it then? John asked.
Yeah, how are you measuring it?
Shut it, the Adelaide.
You need to be muttering again.
Theodolite.
The
Sorry, I'm just not
Adelaide?
speaking loud enough because
Right,
I'm
a
talking a little
theodolite?
quiet. Yeah, the theodolite.
You've got a theodolite, have you?
Yeah, I think most people could have a theodolite. I think that's a common thing.
Oh my
You start
god.
whispering and muttering when you're not very sure of what you're saying.
I'm
You sound
sorry.
whispering
Hold
and
on.
muttering.
Let me speak louder for you. I'm not used. I don't really like speaking this loud right now.
I mean, we're
But
talking about people who navigate with this stuff. Is this a common
yeah,
thing that they'd used on
theodolite.
a? Is it? My bad. Is it me talking through you? Yeah. Go on,
No.
project that shit straight onto me.
What are you talking about?
You talking through me constantly, asshole. That's what I'm talking about.
Am I talking to you now?
You're off mute.
Am I talking to you now?
Sorry, earlier you pointed
said
out that there's
mute.
people in your background causing problems while your mic's wide open. And while I'm pointing this out, your mic is now flashing away because you're about to talk through me. Yeah? Your behaviour is that of a scumbag, like right now. Scumbag.
That praise coming.
Hey, Nathan, I just looked up theodolite. A theodolite is a precision optical instrument for measuring angles between designated visible points in the horizontal and vertical planes. Just like a sextant.
Didn't he say he doesn't even need straight lines?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's something you can get for your phone.
Hey, Virus, did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's something you can actually just get for your phone. That's why I say I thought everybody had a
He
theodolite.
didn't hear Dick.
I heard what
Hey,
you
Virus.
just said. It was a measurement for
Virus.
measuring angles from the horizontal and vertical plane. It's something almost like a
Thank
sextant. I
you
heard what
very
you said.
much. Plain.
Sorry,
Two
so the
straight
horizontal bit, if the ground's falling away from you, how'd you get that?
What?
Ouch.
Repeat it. Repeat the question, please.
He's pointed out and you've affirmed that you understand that it's measuring on a vertical and horizontal plane. You've affirmed. You've said, yeah, that's what I was saying. So you've confirmed that. So the horizontal bit, as his light starts flashing like the scumbag wanker he is, off mute while I'm talking. Is someone in your background maybe walking fast, right, Virus? For your light to be flashing while I'm fucking talking? Yeah, just mute.
There's nobody.
Just mute.
My screen is.
So just mute. I haven't finished my statement. I'm
Wait,
pointing out that
give me
you're
a second.
interrupting
I
it, you
gotta
piece of
unlock my
shit.
phone. I have to unlock my phone.
I don't give a shit what you've got to do. Do it. Oh, thank you, Virus. Finally, some fucking mic etiquette. Yeah, so the horizontal plane bit. Where'd you get that if the ground's falling away from you on a sphere that you assume when you say you've got to get circumference? That means to say that you're falling backwards as you move away from this star that you were measuring. And we're saying, no, you need a horizontal plane, as just detailed and affirmed by you. You may respond.
Sorry, I had to unlock my phone. But anyway, what is this horizontal bit you're talking about?
You kidding?
No, I mean he won't let me ask the question when he says it, so I got to deal with the question now.
Oh, right. You
What is this
affirmed,
horizontal
you
plate y'all talking
understood that when using a theodolite, it's going to be measuring vertical and horizontal planes. You affirmed that. You have already confirmed what we're talking about. Is it because it's a problem for you to get the horizontal plane bit that you need to keep asking what we're talking about?
Yes.
I literally don't know what y'all talking about because
Oh, go away. Go away. I thought you could get this from your phone app. So you don't know what we're talking about, yet you're an expert on it and you've got a phone app.
No, I'm saying why does it have to do?
Don't ask me anything, you dumb shit. Go away and learn how a theodolite works. Because you don't know. You think because you've got a phone app that you can tell us what's what and ask us and demand answers. You're an idiot. You haven't got a clue what you're talking about.
It doesn't need both.
What, an understanding of what you're talking about? Yeah, it does. You haven't got it. You don't know what we're talking about. So bugger off. Go and educate yourself. You're a clown.
It's one or the other. It doesn't have to be both.
Wow.
It's that simple.
That's not what the definition said. Sorry.
You are delusional.
Wait,
You are
what's
so
one or the
delusional.
other? What's one or the
Doesn't
other?
need to do both. It could do one at a time.
You laugh. You know what
What are
happened
you
when you start
talking
laughing
about?
like this? You sound like a
Wait,
moron.
Virus,
You laugh
Virus.
because you know you're
What's one or
cornered.
the
You know
other?
you're cornered, and you know you're getting your ass handed to you. So you start giggling like a
No.
little bitch.
I start laughing whenever y'all try to
Shut
tell me
up,
I'm wrong
Virus.
about
You
something.
waste the space. You're a troll. Shut the hell up. You don't know shit. Just shut up and get out.
I know something y'all don't know, but then y'all put it on me. It makes it funny. I'm sorry. I laugh at it.
No, Ryan's right. You know, when you're
You
cornered,
heard me.
which you are, you giggle like a little bitch. You know you're cornered.
I'm okay. I'm cornered. Wow.
Yeah, that's why you.
No
That's why you had
idea
that
what
nervous
we're
little
talking
laugh.
about.
I
See?
laugh whenever y'all are wrong about something y'all try to put on me. But
Virus.
So whenever we're wrong about something, you start with your
that's
nervous
when I
laugh.
start
Is
laughing.
that it?
Yeah, it's pure projection. So he's cornered, been absolutely hammered on his point that he doesn't really understand. And when that's pointed out to him, he has a little chuckle and then tells us, no, he's laughing about how we don't understand. It's pure projection.
Yeah,
Virus,
And then in 10 minutes,
That's
he'll be like,
hilarious.
"Well, I'm just here to learn,
horizontal and
guys," like he did
vertical,
with
it does
Coriolis.
one or the other. It doesn't have
just
to
give
do
me
both
1
at the same
second.
time.
Just give me 1 second.
That's not even the
Okay.
point.
Get him, Ken.
Virus, please. Thank you for the quiet. Thank you. Thank you.
Hold on,
All right,
my
it
bad.
is-
Hold on, let me mute.
No, my bad. He's asked you to shut up. So I would say, wait, through the top of his beginning. Rather than being a gentleman and sticking yourself on mute immediately, I'd suggest that you need to talk immediately through him, clearly trying to clear the airwaves to speak. Go ahead, 10th.
Theodolite. It consists of a movable telescope mounted so it can rotate around horizontal and vertical axes and provide angular readouts. You wanna come and say that's wrong, Virus?
I never said anything was wrong about it. I just said it doesn't need to do horizontal and vertical at the same time. It can do one or the other.
You can do both. You can do both.
Exactly.
Just like a sextant.
Sorry, the
Right.
problem is, Virus, if I have to break it down for you, if the Earth's falling away from your feet in every vantage point, then your zero line has fell away from you in every direction. So when you say you're going to acquire an angle with only the zenith, well, what's going to give you the zero line for the angle? You've got your 90-degree point, right? But then where's zero? Oh, it goes into the minuses, does it? Because Earth's falling away from you? It's farcical. You need both. You need a 90-degree point to get the angle. Now that would mean that the bottom line is flat. Straight. For this to work. And you keep saying, no, I only need, what, a zenith? To then move on to tell us how you're going to be getting a circumference. So you're saying, well, okay, the ground beneath your feet then is assumed to be falling away from you. How'd you get the horizontal line?
Well, you can't even, Nathan, you can't even get a 90-degree angle with one line. You just got a vertical line. You need the 90 is perpendicular. I mean, that's how you get it.
Right.
How can you even say 90 degrees?
That's correct. But unfortunately, 10th, on a sphere, they don't have that. They don't have it. This doesn't work. Measuring these angles to stars, to triangulate, to navigate, that doesn't work on a globe. because they don't have a horizontal line. Everything's falling away from you curved. So this simply doesn't work on a sphere.
So when you said a horizontal plane, that was devastating, Virus. To you.
It was like music to my ears. Thanks, Sukumu. You made my day.
You are very welcome, bro. Y'all made my day too.
Sounds like
Here's
Discord is
laughter.
getting some vengeance on. Hang on. Sounds like Discord is liking the way you're being beat down, Virus, because you overtalk after the show's over with nonsense, and now you got caught again, and you run away in your little corner. By the way, 90 degree makes a corner.
Do you need 2 lines to make that corner? That
And
90
Nathan, go
degrees?
to the go to the last picture I posted, Master B. Nathan. This is a 90 degree, and this is what Virus can't understand.
I don't know why we even
I
have him
know.
on anymore. He always wastes
delusional.
our time. Why don't we ban Virus and unban Rumpus? At least he's halfway amusing.
Because I wouldn't deem
Your
so
punk ass
far in
look
terms
like
of what.
that shit.
Go on, Virus. Sorry.
Nah, this was my fault. I was just talking shit. It wasn't that important. You can go ahead, Nathan.
I wouldn't say that Rumpus is comparable because Rumpus is an overt liar. Claimed that it always refracted the horizon when he drew a tangent to it at the Isle of Man. He overtly lied about that on 3 separate occasions. I gave him multiple chances, 4 if you include the 2 that I first called him on it with, and he just kept lying. Well, Virus is in cognitive dissonance. That doesn't make him a liar. He's projecting his being in a corner, trapped, not being able to acquire a horizontal plane for his theodolite, and claiming that his chuckles are because we don't understand. It's pathetic. But he's here. I wouldn't deem him a liar for that. It's just trapped in a contradiction.
I don't care. I find Virus extremely annoying and a waste of space. Rumpus, however, is interesting because of how he tactically lies. He's an example for what is the pinnacle of ball religion. I find him much more entertaining like that.
Well, you didn't ask Nathan if he cared about what you cared about. You said, why not Ben? And that was Nathan's answer.
Okay, fine.
He's crossing that racket.
Does the horizontal plane have to have a minimum distance?
Well, no. I mean, in terms of how far you can map out in terms of the stars, you can have thousands of miles being worked out in terms of the geographical position of the star, where it's supposed to be above the ground, that you're going to work out your position with 3 circles of equal altitude. Well, literally, those stars could be representing something thousands of miles away in terms of where you're lining it up with the ground below it.
So you have to use that circle of equal altitude to do the whatever that device is called?
Yeah, you can't do it unless you have a circle of equal altitude. In other words, this proves it's flat.
So you do the triangulation, but you also have to include the circle.
Yeah, each circle, you're drawing out a straight line to get you 90-degree angle, but each angle is going to be from the GP of the star to you, and then you're going to work up with your theodolite what angle that star is in the sky to work out where it sits above the ground. Then you've got a circle all the way around it, and once you've done that 3 times, where they all cross is where you are. I think 10th man called that a fix. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what the sextant for a fix while you're navigating. But it's the same aspect works with the theodolite, obviously, because you have to establish the 90 degree to find out in between 0 to 90 where that star is to where you're at. So if you're on the circle, that 90 degree is from the GP. So the baseline's coming to you and meeting at the zenith position of that star. Now that could be 3,000 miles away, 5,000 miles away. And so that's the center, the radius of that circle of equal altitude. So that means anywhere on that circle, whoever's taking the same measurement on that circle is the same degrees and distance away from the geographical position, the zenith position of that star. So it's impossible for it to be curving.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Massive thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels making today's after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!